Futures back under pressure in early trading on Monday as we're seeing markets move back to the downside after a positive end to last week, both Thursday and Friday. Big rallies, if you remember, into the weekend, all on escalating tensions between Ukraine and Russia. Both sides set to meet for discussions today. No mention of any possible outcomes from those talks, but we'll keep you updated on some of these headlines that are coming through over the weekend. The rest of the world essentially cutting off Russia from the SWIFT banking system. That seems to be affecting some of the banking stocks this morning. We'll talk about that coming up here a little bit. The return to the downside this week comes after the conflict worsened over the weekend as well. The Central Bank of Russia more than doubling its interest rate on Monday to 20% from 9.5% in reaction to huge moves over the weekend in the country's currency. As a whole, the U.S. joined allies Europe and Canada, as I mentioned, over the weekend as well, cutting off Russia from the SWIFT banking system. So that seems to be having some effect here this morning. Oil sharply higher to start the week once again. Not seeing a lot of follow through in individual stocks, but we'll talk about the energy markets coming up here. Some of the little small cap energy stocks that we discussed last week back on the move once again this morning. Defense stocks in favor once again. We'll also talk about some EV movers this morning. Tesla and Lucid higher in the pre-market ahead of earnings coming up after the close tonight. Monday, February 28th, 2022, tradertv.live starts now. There we go. Look at some negative numbers to kick things off to start the new week here. 1+% right across the board, pretty much. S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, all about the same, more or less. TSX futures here in Toronto, about a full percent as well, pointing to a full percent decline here at the open. For the TSX, crude oil there, you can see 4.3% right now. Was actually quite a bit higher than that to start things off, about 6% at one point. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum back under pressure as well to kick off the new week. Lots of uncertainty to kick off the new week. Once again, good morning, guys. Brand new week. Interesting market setting up here once again. Again, if you missed it, both sides, Ukraine and Russia, sitting down to discuss. No one's really sure as to what or possible outcomes that could come from these talks, but have to keep our eyes on some of these headlines again today.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I guess it's the norm. Like, we're going to be headline watching, and both wearing the white shirts today. But all week, all day. I got to correct you on one thing, though, Brendan. When mentioning that there's some EV makers in the news, and then mentioning Tesla and Lucid, and then forgetting Mullen Automotive, which we're obviously going to be looking at again today. So the juggernaut that is Mullen Automotive. I kid, obviously. I had no idea who they were up until last week. But we'll be looking at some of these movers. Look, the small cappers have been, I guess, slower recently. There hadn't been too many of them, but I guess there's a couple this morning. But you got to go back to the well. It's these volatile names that we're going to be looking at again. I think NIO will be one. That listing, we'll see if it has any news there. But let's not forget the big moves that you saw in things like your Squares and your AMDs. I think that's where the juiciness is going to be. Of course, Lucid reporting earnings after night falls in that different bucket because every single one of these things that is printed, that is aftermarket, has usually had a pretty solid day's worth of trade, especially in the afternoon.
And you got to watch out for the liquidity in the aftermarket as well. Lucid could go up and down $3 or $4 in both ways before it figures out what it wants to do. But yeah, welcome, guys. It is Monday. It should be a really fun day today. Again, earnings season is still in forefront. A lot of names coming through. I have Lucid on the sticky note. Palantir's up today, so we like that one. AMC going to be watched as well. Now I want to take a look at some of these banks, Brendan. Russia coming, being banned from the SWIFT, so on and so forth. Some of these EU, Japan, Canada, Australia, all hopping on board here to make it just a little bit harder for some of those Russian oligarchs and banks and whatnot to do business. So let's wait to see what happens here today. It should be another exciting one.
Yeah, it sounds like there will be some sort of outcome or fallout, I guess, from that move on the rest of the world's banking system as well. Speaking of more EVs, guys, in the news today, we mentioned this on Friday. Lordstown out with a surprise positive outlook on pickup truck production coming up this year. So ride another one I don't know why I'm so excited about this, but Ride, another one in that group, moving higher this morning, along with that Mullen. Yeah, Mullen, a solid state battery deal, so similar to that. What was that? QuantumScape. QS was the other one that was working on solid state batteries. So we'll look at MULN. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Welcome to the new trading week. I wish you a profitable day. Please make sure you like this video and let's get it started, Brendan.
Let's indeed get it started, guys. Lots to get through as we head through to the open this morning. I was just going to look at this Ride. Yeah, it is negative already, but was higher initially after that outlook for some of these, apparent pickup trucks from Lordstown, guys, coming this year. So pretty active here so far for Lordstown.
Yeah, I guess it didn't take very long to start selling that one off. Ultimately, you guys know the especially EV truck landscape is highly competitive, to say the least. And I think that's why you have to pick your winners and your losers here. All I will say positively about them is they're nowhere near their lows. I actually didn't realize that Lordstown had bounced off of $2 back in that January low, and not even retesting it in some of this. So I suppose that's a positive. I haven't really read the numbers to be able to dive into it. It just broke back to the downside, failing that 50 period, and looks like it's headed back to $3. If it takes that out, plenty of room from the bottom. A little surprised at how far it's gotten off the bottom. But I said this last week, and I'll keep this in mind. When you start thinking about percent gains, some of these names start moving, especially off of lows. Like this stock is 50% off of its bottom, but if I zoom out far enough, that kind of stuff is true when you come down from like a $32 high in 2020, like the pandemic top was about $32. So it's the other reason why your most impressive actual percent rallies come in bear markets, because it's a heck of a lot easier to have the gains like that in names like this and others when they pulled back so far. So take everything with a grain of salt. It does mean that a lot of these things can be a little more volatile than you might expect, because the truth of the matter is they profiled as vastly different equities than they certainly are right now. Lordstown's probably not going to be in that bucket today because after reporting they're 100,000 in volume, so I'm not expecting any fireworks there. But that certainly applies across the board to some of the bigger companies that are depressed.
Yeah, I still feel like Rivian is going to win the truck wars, or Ford, of course. And I don't know enough about Ride and what their fleet's going to look like to see if it's any different than what a Rivian is going to come out with or has already come out with. The Ford F-150 remains super strong. I thought Ride was more like the cargo vans and stuff. So, but again, not sure, not very educated on that for sure. But into here, I still like Rivian. Like I said, I still think this is going to be a winner at some point, but there's a lot of inventory to be sold up here, it seems like, between 69 and 70. So right now you can open up at 63. For me, we're going to get to it because it's on our watch list, but we do have Lucid on our mind today more than anything else because of the report coming aftermarket, or is it? I don't know if it's aftermarket or tomorrow morning, but I think it's aftermarket. Either way, Lucid will come out and show us their, some of their cards. But I like Rivian up here. If we can get a 68, 69, 70, something like that up here on the short side of things, and that's where I'm looking. So Rivian for me is going to be a short up on those highs. And if we're lucky enough for it to tank down to 58, 59, that's going to be another play for me. So I'm going to stay away from Ride. I can't remember the last time I traded it, but we are pretty comfortable and confident with Rivian.
Yeah, that Lucid pretty strong here so far. The report actually aftermarket tonight, as we were saying. But I was actually reading more about their car, the Dream, on the weekend, and it sounds very, very positive so far. We'll shift gears slightly here and talk a little bit about Airbnb, guys. Not really a story that's going to affect the stock, but worth mentioning. Kudos to Airbnb offering up 100,000 vacation rentals for free to Ukrainians fleeing the country into surrounding countries, I guess. So a good look for Airbnb, obviously a no-brainer for them to do that, but still pretty flat here for the overall stock.
Yeah, they're actually, look, that's obviously a great story. There's nothing, stock-wise, is it going to move the stock? No, but it's certainly a positive thing. It's one of those surprising names, I suppose, that had way more volatility the last few weeks than I think I'd certainly realized. I mean, not one that I watched make that $50 move from 140 to 190, but those are pretty well-respected bottoms, 130, 140 that we're bouncing off of for Airbnb. I still like the company as an overall, I guess not even just reopen play, but certainly just even the business model. It works, and when you have the changing world that we're in, truth of the matter is people can work from anywhere, and you know, the notion of being, oh, Airbnb here for 1 month and then I can work remotely and then I want to go to the Caribbean or wherever and I want to visit this other state. It's just, the flexibility is fantastic. I mean, it'd be cool, you know, it'd be cool to have that kind of an experience, and I like what they're doing. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they haven't fared a bit better in the last couple of weeks. It's been really beaten up the last little bit, but you know, I definitely like it down in that 130, 140. Just hadn't realized it had gotten that far down until we had looked at the chart last week. And I was like, wow, it really just came from there. So, you know, if this one gets beaten up a little bit more, it's getting into that target area where it does make a lot of sense and start to work. It's a great story and it's a feel-good story. It's obviously not going to move the stock in any way, but, you know, certainly the stock's not too far removed from really good support levels.
No, I like the Airbnb. I think it's, Guy Tlack said it properly. I think it's just a great PR move overall. And I think Bell as well. I got to give a, was it Bell or Rogers or TELUS? I'm going to say Bell because I'm not with them. And that's why I was like, oh, it's a good move by them. They did the same thing. I think they gave free long distance calling to Ukraine, either for the weekend or for the week or something like that. So look, I think as long as these companies are doing that, it's good for PR. And it's just a feel-good story. So I like Airbnb, and I like it for some of the reasons Neil said. I think vacationing is going to be back. It's just a matter of time with COVID. I mean, knock on wood, of course. You know, looking to be better and looking to be. I'm not even going to say it anymore because I'm going to jinx it. I was going to talk about more variance and whatnot. But
don't even.
Look, I like Airbnb. We talked about it as a reopen play. I think 150 is a solid level. If you get it down to that 130 on any drops, I think it's a great play. But Airbnb, thank you for doing that for everybody for Ukraine there. And I think it's an important step. And let's just hope we get all past that. And then Airbnb flies into the summer.
Definitely. Good call right across the board. This is the truck, the Endurance, if anyone hadn't seen it yet. A few people were wondering as well. So that's the Lordstown Endurance. You can see this is the front page of their website, by the way. 2023, they're saying this thing will be available. And in the actual report today, they're saying they're going to sell 500 of those in calendar year 2022, which is positive, obviously, for them. So again, just heads up on Lordstown. I wanted to mention this as well. We're going to get to some of the energy stocks. Crude oil was actually, as I said, you know, quite a bit higher than it currently is. And that is due to this, the U.S. and other major oil consuming nations saying that they're considering releasing 70 million barrels of oil in reserves. This is according to the Wall Street Journal there to help whatever supply constraints may come from this. So we did get a move back to the downside, but very active anyways for all these oil producers again today.
Yeah, the strategic reserve doesn't. It's not affecting prices. Like they've been tapping it since November. It's like it doesn't make a difference, and it kind of. It's one of those things that it gets done all the time, and I'm not saying it can't make like small alleviations. And from a security standpoint, making sure that supply is there, fair enough. But it's not. It's basically a drop in the bucket, and I think that's why you're not seeing too much of a reaction here, and it didn't matter as much in November either. But look, energy prices haven't even ebbed. Like they had a little bit of a check back last week, and then we're right back to the upside. And keep in mind, this is without, and again, another line of sanctions that didn't even touch energy. And I know a lot of people are thinking that, okay, well, that's in the back pocket, that it could come later. I'm not sure, because when you think about the sheer reliance that most of Europe has on the natural gas coming out of Russia, and they're one of the biggest oil suppliers. I just can't see it happening. Not with the rest of the entire world facing inflationary pressures. It doesn't make any sense. I just kind of feel like that shoe may never drop. Does it mean necessarily that we can't have a rally upside or continue to scream higher? I'm not sure, because the truth of the matter is part of this has been fundamental in demand anyways, right? So, you know, we were having this happen in oil prices regardless of what was going on in the Ukraine. So realistically, I do think that we have a good chance to get back over that 100, especially the way things are trending right now. I don't think that news changed anything. Of course, headlines are going to be du jour. Just nothing you can do about it. If you are trading specifically oil or defense names, you better have your ear to the ground, because at any moment you might get a little bit of a shock on you. I don't think that the impetus to get the prices back down is going to be affected at all by a strategic reserve being tapped again. It never seems to matter.
it's up 4% on that news. Yeah. So yeah, like you think that might drop it down with releasing more oil. But obviously the name that I'm going to look at here is BP today, down 8%. And I don't really understand why it's down this much. But again, this is not my specialty, nor am I a BP analyst here. But it's selling 20%. It's nearly 20% stake in Russia's state-owned, controlled oil producer Rosneft. So there it is to the downside there, BP. And again, I guess obviously as it divests and looks to get out of Russia, I'm guessing here, down 8% on that news. Obviously a profitable wing for them. They're looking to close that stake, so that's I guess going to affect their numbers here moving forward. But down 8%, like that seems to be a little much for this. So this is going to be a name, BP, and unless there's more news on this, Brendan, I mean that's all that we have written down here. I don't know. It seems like it's too far, but we're going to be watching. For me, I'm going to be watching BP just because of that. It's 1.18 million shares. XOM had a great dip down into the 72 or 3 area there just a couple days ago. Actually got as low as 74. It looks like was the bottom wick. That's back up to 77. That's a nice play. But for me, BP. I mean XOM. Look, 120,000 shares. BP today, 1.2 million. So we're always going to try to look to see where there's some love here on some of these names. And just, I don't know enough about this deal and what this means to BP. So we'll just see how it trades. If it comes up to some key levels, maybe like a 28 with some volume. Let's just check out the imbalance locator quickly to see if, there it is. So it's actually on here. So here's British Petroleum, 385 right now, 1,000 shares to the sell side. So just coming in here, it's nice to see the only bid on the board is going to be Palantir. We'll talk about that in a minute, but XOM is even a sell. BP was a sell there. I'm not sure what GLOP is. Twitter's a sell. DD's a sell. And after that, about the same. Bank of America. I mean, some of these are nothing. Pfizer's been under pressure for a bit. That's down to $47. So the imbalance locator doesn't look super juicy, but again, we are 45 minutes away from the open here.
There was a couple of interesting notes on that BP deal. The first of which I think is just purely, it came out of nowhere over the weekend. They announced that it seemed like a bit of a surprise. It also could result in a $25 billion hit for them exiting this portion of this deal, which has been part of their portfolio for quite some time. So I think that's more the case there for that BP slide this morning. Also wanted to mention this real quick, guys. Travel stocks getting hit here once again. Some of the headlines that were coming out over the weekend concerning airspace. So the rest of the world essentially cutting off Russian planes from entering airspace, regardless of which direction they want to fly. So Russia turned around and did the same thing. There's a list of, I think, about 35 different countries and airlines that are going to be affected by this. So airlines right across the board down quite a bit here pre-market. I just brought up AAL, but 1.7, kind of bouncing along some levels from last week, but they're all kind of in this neighborhood with the market as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I'm sure any further sell-off, I suppose, down those lines is probably going to be a buying opportunity. But good luck trying to predict when that's going to be. And that's sort of the trouble when we get to move down on a headline like this, right? Like, this is not like in the BP situation. Okay, well, you know exactly what they're doing. Okay, they're taking a hit because they're making you can call it knee jerk or whatever it might be, making that sell, and they're going to take a hit for it because the timing is poor and you're selling it depressed when usually you're not going to win in that regard. But at least that's like a one and done, and you can just go forward with the business. But what kind of a hangover are you going to have in Europe for flights? And then on top of that, you have the reopen coming, right? So that sort of tangles things up because I felt like these names were going to be holding these lows and starting to break back out because the truth of the matter is the world's opening back up, and that should be a good story. So I don't really know what you do if this gets back to support levels here. It would seem like almost said AMD. AAL here at that 16. You've seen it go back here and forth here a few times and been a solid bounce looking like it's about to go. But if this prolongs, you could be breaking those lows. I'm not a huge airline guy myself. I'm more like the manufacturers, just the safer way to play it here. I just feel like you got to let this thing play itself out for a few more days or even like a week or so before you can actually judge how this is going to affect the travel names. It's just easier to be risk off with something like the airlines right now.
Yeah, no, we talked last week about Delta, and that was a name that I liked due to some of the international exposure and whatnot, and it's above the 50-period moving average. We talked about it when it was down here, 38, 39. Obviously, if you were able to get that in the morning or, when it was down here, that was a great trade, back up to $40, $41. So, we did talk about this last week when it was down here, which was a good long. Now we're above the 50-period moving average. So I think there's room to go here with Delta. I am a little bit worried, of course, and I know that airlines hedge against oil prices and gas, but I mean, that's just going to the upside. We'd already talked about oil here touching 98. Well, it's now $95 a barrel, but close to that $100 mark. And I just wonder how that's going to also affect airlines. And again, I understand that they've managed that better than I could, so not too much of a worry there, but just something that's always on my mind with investing in the airlines is that so much can always go wrong with these names. So I don't own any airlines whatsoever, but if I did, I like Delta here. It's above the 50-period moving average. It's the international exposure, so I like that. I think as we open back up, vacations will be a thing again for sure, especially with travel, people going to see families when they haven't seen them in 2 or 3 years. So I like Delta for that. I like Air Canada here in Canada for the same reason as it's an international play. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with, and I'm going to stick there. But again, dividends not great enough, and blah blah blah. To me, it's a little bit too risky. I'd rather be in large cap tech, obviously. All right, Brendo, what you got?
Lots of interesting names on this board. Once again, upgrades and downgrades, guys. Here we go. The upgrades are incoming for Block now. After the move we saw last week. So BMO this morning with the price target increase. Li Auto on this side, and Tesla today. Tesla, a new battery deal with Panasonic, or they finalized that deal with Panasonic. We'll talk about that coming up. Best Buy over here, Foot Locker, Rocket, and Lear, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Foot Locker getting crushed last week, obviously, after their earnings. Block's an interesting one. I mean, it's still expensive, right? Like they're like 80 on the 4P, I think, which, that's super, super expensive. But the run, you can't ignore what they just did. Like 80 to 120 in just a couple of sessions. But I think we went over the whole, okay, yeah, that's 50%, put it in context of what the greater move has been. But sometimes it's just, there's no way to sugarcoat that. That's a monster rally. And we were looking at this in the afternoon on Friday, and remember it was having all that trouble getting through that 120 level. This is what it looks like on the 15-minute chart. You have a 121 peak here, 119 down there, and it was really trying to take out 120, couldn't get anywhere, and now we're gapping below it. Like my first gut instinct when I see that, plus an upgrade up here, is look at the gap fill on this stock. I mean, your first gap is probably about $6 or $7 in here, and then if it takes it, if it got through 110, pretty much forget about it till $100. But I look at that tight range, that 120 level up top, and say that should be a pop and fade. It gets through 120, 121, maybe it's off to the races again. Typically, when it's found a new range, it'll consolidate for a while, and I just look at this and say to myself, okay, this has to be an attempt to short it off of that high. If it wants to break 121, I think it can go. That's the kind of thing that might happen Wednesday, Thursday, tomorrow. I mean, it could happen today as well, but I'm going to be looking at the pop and fade first things first on Square. And if anything, sometimes the upgrade gives you the buying at the open to push into that resistance level right at 9:30.
Yeah, let's see what happens here at the open. I'm just setting up some of my orders. What about Best Buy? Best Buy was there, I believe, on the downgrade side. Yeah, things not working out well for them. All the way up to 140 back in November before earnings, all the way back down in here. I don't own the name, but you're back down below. And I'm just thinking that you're consolidating down here around $100. We did just dip down on the last couple of horrible days there of last week. It was a bad run. We went from 102 all the way down to opening up one day at $80 before coming all the way back to 94, and we're just trying to get back above. I think Best Buy works. I think their e-commerce is great. As far as I know, I bought a few things off there. That's where I got my TV. It's where I always go for the first look on anything really electronics based. But I know there's a lot of competition here. Supply chain, I guess, still going to be an issue for Best Buy. Shipping and whatnot, still an issue. But once you get through here, and I don't know, let's just see if it takes out 100. So Best Buy is a name that we're going to look at. Takes out 100. It's not for day trading. It doesn't move great. It has a whopping 2,000 shares traded today. But if you can get into 100 and then back above this VWAP, I think that there's, like it was 140 for a reason, and it's not overly expensive. Best Buy comes in here. You have holiday season. I know, we just passed, so we'll see what kind of quarter that's coming into. And then with some of these other work from home plays, I guess people are already kitted up. And I guess maybe that's what the downgrade here is for. But let's just wait to see what happens. I think if you take out the 50 period, I like Best Buy. You've seen retail gets crushed. Walmart, Target, American Eagle Outfitters, Gap, Macy's, a lot of these names getting hit. And I think Best Buy, because of what they sell and some of the deals that they have, I think it's a pretty good opportunity to pick that up if we can cross back over $100 again.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was actually at a Best Buy on the weekend, and it was nuts, like lineups trying to get out of the store at the cash. It was crazy. A couple of deals worth noting this morning. I saw a couple of people talking about a few of these. So maybe, Neil, we can touch on this deal-making news this morning. The biggest of which, TD Bank, Canada's TD Bank, stepping up $13 billion for FHN, First Horizon. There's also this Regi, $3.15 billion. What is it, INN or IIN, as well as another one?
Yeah, look, the TD thing, I think we've talked about the TD Bank, I think the best bank in Canada, but their exposure to the U.S. is pretty large, so they're always expanding, and it's just another deal here. I think, look, they're all cash deals. So FHN, someone asked, is this a good trade today? And I said, I don't know. If you have direct market access, maybe there's something there for you. Even then, I'm not sure. It's got a big spread on it right now. It's like $25 right now is the actual price. It's trading at $24.25. So there's a rather large spread. Regi's the one I think most people have actually heard of. Big deal for Chevron. So, I mean, if you want to talk about it in the context of Chevron, this one's $61.50 cash. It's trading just around $60. But, Chevron's been making that move and been pretty aggressive when it comes to renewable energy. I think this is one of the things where a lot of the oil companies have been beaten up. And when you have this whole ESG phenomenon, that's been rough for some of the energy companies because a lot of firms don't want to invest in them because of those concerns. And now you're getting that full-on push to get a little bit cleaner. And here you have Chevron, while at their highs, while flush with cash, going out there and sort of doubling down on that, going in and grabbing renewable energies there. So I love the fact that when you have an all-cash deal, and obviously oil's up 4%, so this is the reason why it's at that high, but still being received rather well. Usually when you make a big acquisition, a lot of times you're going to be under pressure that day. So I would say it's a decent chance Chevron of all the related names, all the energy names, could be the weakest one today. I think that would have more to do with the deal than anything else. But keep an eye on that. Those are cash deals, like I said. So I wouldn't expect too much volatility. Although just about every single deal has been a good fade if it gets close to the price on day one.
Just an update here on that Best Buy talk. PE of 9 right now and a dividend of 2.9%. So if you were looking to get some exposure in retail with a 3% dividend and a PE under 10, I mean, Best Buy is your huckleberry, as Neil likes to say, as well. But yeah, I haven't even looked at any of those deals, so not much to say there other than that the fact that they're cash. So you will have a time value of money, as we explain. And so if something's done for $25, it will trade at $24.50, and then just incrementally bump itself up as it gets closer to the closing date. So all I can say is just look to see when those dates are, see if there's any approval from some of the authorities, the government, the regulations, things like that. And then you can sort of say, hey, if something's trading at $24.50, it's going to close at $25 in 3 months. Maybe that's a 1% gain in 3 months. So you may want to park your money there, but there is obviously associated risks with all of these deals. So basically, I know Brad says it too on his show, just do your own research as far as those cash deals, because honestly, they fall apart sometimes, and just make sure you do your due diligence on those, Brendo.
Yeah, good call. We were mentioning, guys, that last week the importance of big tech in this environment, whether or not the biggest of the tech, mega cap anyways, will lead in one direction or another. Some this morning faring a little bit better than the overall market. I bring up Apple here, 1.1% overall market, lower than that, obviously. Microsoft looks a little bit better than that. I mean, obviously going to be active here in the pre-market. You can see it again today, but it should be another interesting week for some of the big guys.
I mean, tech went into what? Bear territory, correction territory. It's been in there for a while, and some of the big boys are going to lead the charge. And honestly, I think Amazon's at a good level to buy right now. We've talked about Microsoft. I mean, when it dipped down to 270, the thing is that these little outlier days down here could happen. Like, we could come in tomorrow, man, and honestly, like today there's talk about, I guess they're meeting at the Belarus border, Ukraine and Russia, to try to talk a little bit of peace, maybe a ceasefire, like that would be great. But if that doesn't come out, then, you know, you can easily test a lot lower. But at the same time, here's Microsoft. This is a 1-minute chart. We traded it pretty actively the last couple of days. To find a level here for these stocks, I mean, you can just look down, and that was a daily chart we were just sort of looking at right here. We've come down into here as an investable level. I mean, this 270 to 280 level seems to have held every time the markets crash back down. So we like those levels, but we are understanding under the 200 period for Microsoft. It's been a rough ride to the downside for sure for a lot of these names, and now they're starting to finally roll over, I feel like, to the downside, so it's not a good thing. I thought we were holding up pretty good. We tested the 200 and broke it. We've stayed under it now for a week and a half. Not good, so I'm not super happy about it. I mean, again, if you've invested and you think that the market does have more downside to go, because remember, this week it's CPI. We still have interest rates are still going to be a problem, and big cap tech gets affected by inflation just as much as anything else, so if not even more than that. So let's just wait to see what happens. But for me, Microsoft is a buy as long as we get down into that. Like, you could buy it now if you're going long term. You're not going to look back in 5 years and be like, I got it at 292. I wish I would have waited for 283 or something. But you know, I like Microsoft down here. Apple is the king, but these names right now are pretty much following the market. I know, Brennan, you have Apple up, but Brennan, this is 1.57. We're down 1.32. Obviously, just a little tick up or down changes these percentages. So let's wait to see. But I think Microsoft's a buy. It's just today, I'm not sure about the environment again. So nothing is screaming out to me other than what I have on my list today. And honestly, there's no major cap techs. Not an AMD, not a Microsoft, not an Apple, nothing like that. Let's just wait to see if we can fall back into the 280 range, and then we'll start taking softy for sure.
Yeah, like actually this weekend, because it's always in the weekend, Berkshire doing their thing. And in talking up Apple, that's like pretty much just about everything for them. And look, it's relatively strong. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that support today. I'm not even talking about the 200 period. I'm kind of looking at that 158 level. So it would probably take a couple of days for it to get down there if we did have a bit of a pullback. But I think that's the area to pick up an Apple. I am seeing that Indo move. Just before we go back to you, Bren, that INDO, that 1.5 million share floater, yeah, it's going on the move again. So I'm just kind of remembering last time we traded this at $16 level. It made the spike. It got up to 20 and then failed sort of miserably, and then 16 was a lower high. I'm looking at those two levels here. Just be careful. Like I said, 1.5 million float. It's already done more shares than that, getting a bit of a pump this morning. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking profit. This was like a $4 energy name that even last week it pulled back to $9 or $10, and now you're getting another look to the upside. So you don't want the rug to get pulled, but it looks pretty strong so far this morning. And I'd only be looking at 16 and 20 at the onset for any kind of a short. And on top of that, remember, this could halt at any time. This is actually a high probability to halt.
If you're looking for some interesting lunchtime reading today, guys, quick Google this. Or a quick Google of Berkshire will find you this. Have a read through this on Yahoo Finance today. Some of the numbers that came out of that Berkshire Hathaway thing are just mind-boggling. So highly recommend reading that. Let's bring in Arun here and get a quick check of the overall market as we head into a brand new week. Arun, back to the upside to end the week, but here we are, kind of stuck in the middle once again.
Exactly. Stuck in the middle once again. You know, we were in a nice little area. When we were closing out on Friday, I was like, okay, this is decent, because 44.10 was that top end level I was looking at. If we can get above there, we really can extend another, 50 to 100 points. But a gap down, I actually saw it when it opened last night at 6 o'clock on the future side of things. And it was a 100-point gap. And we had done 25K in contracts within 5 minutes of that open. So here we are kind of trading, drifting, if anything, to the upside. We're in the middle of nowhere, really. This area doesn't help us out in any way. There's no trades to be made that I can find. If we can get above 43.70, then we're entering that territory where we can find some shorts close to that 44.10 area. So 43.70 into 44.10 is the zone that I would prefer to work for on the short side. And on the long side, there really isn't a whole lot for at least another 80 points to the downside. So we've got I'm looking 42.40 going on down towards 41.95. That's my bottom end support level, or my support zone, with 41.95 as my exit point. And here we are in the middle, right? 44.10 up top, 41.95 down below. We're sitting in the middle at 43.23, waiting for this market to do something. Now, when we opened up last night, we were down, about close to 3%, down 100 and something points. Here we are now, only down, what are we down? We're down about 57 points on the S&P and only down 1.31%. So the market's clearly done a recovery. Momentum seems to be on the upside, so we may see a nice little move to the upside. Hopefully we get a nice little decent move to the upside that enters into some form of a potential short, or at least into a territory that we can work with. For now, though, I'm going to stay away. We're going to keep those two levels that I mentioned in mind and wait for the market to get to one of those two levels before we make up our mind and do something with it.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. Best of luck today, guys. TDOC just popping up here. Nice move for Teladoc. From 70 up to 78 on decent volume as well. They're teaming up with Amazon to offer their services, essentially, Teladoc Health on Alexa. So that's a big deal for TDOC on the move here.
Yeah, good little name there. Look, we like TDOC. I've sold some at $85, $86 there, and it's nice. I mean, anytime we saw this with BlackBerry, I believe there was some, and then BlackBerry just obviously faded all the way back in. I don't know much about the deal. Brendan just bringing this to our attention now. You've seen the volume starting to pick up now on Teladoc all the way to the upside. And I was just going to say, anytime you're in a deal with Amazon, probably a good idea, but we saw what happened with the firm. That was what, $70? Deal with Amazon takes it to like 120, 130, then it continues to go higher and then fades back in. Often Amazon will just use you and then eat your lunch afterwards as well. So we'll wait to see. It's a nice name here, Teladoc. Obviously, they're trying to change the game with what they're doing. They're trying to prove that they're more than just a COVID play. And I think it can work. I think people are probably, I don't want to say tired of going to in-person. And I don't know. We don't have Teladoc here as far as I know anyways in Canada. But I feel like, there is some value here in TDOC. And, changing the game on healthcare makes sense to me. We know we've become more, obviously, of a intertwined world with media and with appointments and Zoom video and all this stuff. So let's just wait to see where it goes. I know that there's some interesting things they have in the pipeline as well. So we'll wait to see what this means for them. But again, the 50 period is right here. So that's nice. That's $79, $80. I think it gets exciting. Definitely if you take out this 81 or 82 here on a daily chart. Would be nice to get back into 90 or 100 here. So let's wait to see for Teladoc. Obviously, this is a good sign for all of the ARC. I don't know if I think Teladoc is one of, if not, it's not the highest holding. Obviously, there's bigger ones here, but you can see now, I guess this is not even moving in the pre-market. Let me see the 1 minute chart now. It's not doing anything. So you'll wait to see, but that should be nice for some of these ARC plays as well, as I know that Miss Kathy Wood and whatnot are involved with a lot of these sort of innovative names. So we'll see what happens here with Teladoc.
Yeah, one thing I would say is, keep in mind the context, right? Like on the way up is when you had the Amazon and a firm deal, right? Like here, you've actually made this market reset bottom a little bit, and then you're going to get this deal coming through. I'm looking at where like price acceptance was just a couple of weeks ago around this 75 area. So in the event that we actually get a pullback, I'm looking 75 could be a thing. I remember you rallied for several days on a firm, so I wouldn't be surprised if you had a couple of days worth of strength in Teladoc. All that said, it's still, at the end of the day, their growth is actually pretty good. The report we actually said was not that bad in terms of growth, but you're still in a year where valuation is going to matter. So I do think there will be some people looking to ring the register. Like this is still up like 40%. Now crossing 80 up 40% from those lows. And even over the weekend, you get that 13%. So if we get any dip, I'm looking 75 on TDOC here. Like you said, Sean, that 50 period and above that 80, probably the resistance level. There's other things I like to probably stand in front of the short today, but I suppose if it goes high enough, anything's possible.
Quick move there for TDOC. Let's lots to get through, guys. Let's jump into the watch list. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the absolutely free morning note we send out every day before we come on at 8:30. All you need is your email address. Miss V will have that in the chat for you if you need that link. We mentioned oil there briefly. Just checked again, still holding 4.5% for crude on the day, but a lot of these stocks have already come in a little bit here, back to the downside. So individually, the stock's not acting as strong as the overall commodity at this point this morning. But that being said, there are individual names moving around.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at that BP because of the Russian deal here. Apparently, I was reading some of the people in the chat there commenting on British Petroleum and what that deal means to them canceling basically with the Russian state oil here. But it's moved up nicely in the pre-market here up to 28.60. Or so off these bottoms when we were talking about it at 28. And I said, we'll have to wait to see what this means. I don't know if it means they can't put the deal back on or not, but you're down 7% here. Rosenfett or whatever it was there, the deal with Rosneft, that's what it was. The state-controlled oil producer there, 20% stake from BP and canceled. So down $30, down to 28. They're just trying to get rid of some toxic assets, I guess, in the current environment. But I feel like BP in this environment with oil doing what it's doing, just getting hit now due to some of that exposure. I believe if you can get this anywhere down here, 27, 28 bucks, something like that for BP seems to be a great buy. Obviously, the dividend, everything is pretty strong with BP. A name that everybody knows about. I think this is a winner. I think XOM's a winner. I think CVX. I mean, there's a lot of names here. I'm in, that ZEO, which is a Canadian sort of equivalent to an XLE. They're giving you the gas and the oil. So if you look at XLE over here, this has been also a pretty good name going through. Grab the dividend as well, and you could see sticking up near the high side. So there's a lot of traders that are in oil names. It's been a safe haven for the last, couple weeks, months, if not even 6 months. So oil, gas, nicely done to the upside here. We are coming out of major times for distribution, obviously coming through winter, heading now into the spring, but it doesn't seem to be affecting any prices at the pump, man. I mean, still 161 a liter here, which is, I don't know, what was that?
I got 156 this weekend.
Yeah.
Boom.
I saw it on the way in. I think I saw some 156. I saw some 154s. The wife right now is heading to Costco to do some shopping, so I'm going to message to her to make sure that she fills it up there. But
it's always cheap there.
Oh no, it's always 10 cents cheaper, about 10 cents cheaper at Costco gas. So I like it, and I think you got to stay long oil names. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying with CVX, and that's where I'm going to look at today, hoping that deal that they with Reggie there, REGI, might actually put them under a little bit of pressure, because I think that could give you some buying opportunities. The BP thing's interesting, if only because they were that was falling pretty hard before this, right? Like a lot of these other names are pretty strong, but BP was falling pretty hard into that news. It looks great at that 28 level, as Sean mentioned, but I'm looking at Chevron, and if it sells off on this deal, anytime you make a big purchase, sometimes that'll happen to you. It could get into some decent support levels. I mean, it's been consolidating at the top, looking for another break. But that could get tradable down to 135 if there was a severe pullback here. It just turned red, but that's basically flat. And if you're just tuning in, they're buying, REGI. It's like renewable energy. And that's for $61.50 cash if you're watching Reggie.
Good move for them, obviously, to expand that side of the business for CVX. I put defense stocks on the list this morning simply because of the pre-market moves here. There really isn't much of a day trade in any of these to be had. But that being said, they're all up nicely here. You can look at RTX. You can look at LMT, Lockheed Martin, up 2.6% here, trying to hold 420 for LMT right now. So a heads up on that group. But let's move along here and talk a little bit about some of the banks, because to the downside for all of these banks, it would appear on some of this SWIFT talk and removing removing Russia from the SWIFT network, the Russian central bank already out saying that they have their own system in place already that'll essentially, bypass any negative effects from this.
Yeah, and I think they would have seen this coming, right? Like, there's no way they're talking about their war chest and the $600 billion in reserve, like foreign currency that they got. So, they would have anticipated this. If anything, I guarantee you they have something going with China likely that'll allow them to maintain at least some semblance of reasonable transactions. But at the same time, you can't sort of ignore what's going on across the board for the banks. I'm looking at JPM here, and just double bottom 140. I mean, it doesn't really matter which chart I pull up. I probably should have picked one without these wicks on the daily, but it doesn't matter which one you pull up. You're getting a pullback in the banks right now, especially the ones that aren't, your direct lending type names. And if you break some of these support levels and you want the banks on your shopping list, that's going to be the time to go, because most of them are sort of trending below both major averages, and like you said, getting a double bottom there. I mean, Morgan, who I like a little bit better. Oh, I just I tempted fate by trying to flip there. There you go. Morgan, which I like, that's just broken that recent support. So that's what I'm getting at. You're actually getting a breakdown. And if this is going to cause an opportunity to be able to pick these up, I mean, I'm looking 80 to 85 as the next channel down. I just showed you JPM looking like it might make a move to the next channel down as well. So these could be some interesting opportunities. They've been hanging out at those highs without the ability to break back out. And in this environment, if you want to tell me that these banks are going to break down off of support levels right before the balance sheet comes down and the raising rate environment starts to pick up, then I'm going to be a buyer of them. I know a lot of people are saying, okay, we're worried about the economy and that the Fed's got it so wrong that you're going to get like stagflation and you're going to start hampering economic growth. That's what you're afraid of if you're selling the banks. Okay, so like if you're a seller up here, that's essentially what you're afraid of, and that's the only reason that you should be afraid. But I tend to think it's not going to be that bad for the overall economy. I don't think the doom and gloom. The market might be a bit of a different story, but we break some of these support levels. I'll be ready at about $80 on a Morgan. For the day trade, I don't really see much.
$80. What are we looking at? Oh,
look at
worst case.
No, I'm just talking about like the levels that are breaking right now, because that's just, you have like multi-week, multi-month support levels.
Oh yeah.
So if those start to go,
I didn't realize it was that close, but it's not really.
You could get some. That's 10%.
10%, yeah.
You could get some breakdowns, and if it happens and the panic is real, hey, that's when you got to be buying.
All right, just real quickly here, I have on the sticky note WFC. So I have WFC right down here. And I don't think on this Russian SWIFT and this and that, I just don't think U.S. banks, Russia's such a small part. We've already obviously talked about the oil, but it's such a small part of the economy. I think it's like 0.1 or something of consumer goods or whatever bought in the U.S. or Russian. I saw some people dumping Russian vodka down the drain. Bro, just what? It's crazy, I know. My wife was showing me some social media stuff of people just dumping their Smirnoff. It's like, what? Just put that into some like Caesars or something. Get some Bloody Marys going or whatever. I do have some disappointing news, though. I just talked with Tony the Tiger back there, and he's looking to get taken out of the market right here. Met some ladies on the weekend, so I just want to give everyone an update.
That's what they were talking.
That's the whole thing. So we'll find out a little story about that. But he goes to me, he goes, "Hey Sean, how was your weekend?" I'm like, "Not too bad. It was pretty good." Hey? And then I look at him. He can't even get the words out. He's smiling ear to ear, and he's like, "Yeah." We won't get into it right now. But he's like, "Yeah." It was a good weekend. And I'm like, "What do you mean a good weekend? Like, what's up?" He's like, "You don't know." "Oh, yeah, I met some people." I was like, all right, Tony, I see what you're doing here. So to be young again, but Tony there, Tony the Sly Tiger. Is in the building. He is doing him. And, ladies, watch out, man. This guy's on the prowl for Tony the Tiger. What's up, Miss V?
Hey guys, welcome everyone. Just 13 minutes left until the open. And I remind you to smash the like button. Back to you, Brendan.
All right, let's jump into some EV stocks today, because quite a few of them moving around here in the pre-market, guys. We can look at NIO. We can look at Tesla on that Panasonic battery deal. There's also Lucid coming up aftermarket tonight. I just brought up NIO. It's given most of this back already. We were up here above 20 early on, but coming back into where we were back on Friday. But 21, big time level for NIO. Again, Tesla, there's Lucid. Lots going on in EV land today.
Again, not naming Mullen. I don't know what's going on here.
I see some people, Diageo makes Smirnoff, but it was back to the 19th century in Russia. I was just reading that because I was like, Smirnoff, I always thought it was Russian because they have that
you want the
logo.
Stoli,
there's a whole bunch of them. Apparently the most popular one, and I've never heard of this, Green Mark Russian vodka. Do we know that one here? I don't know if there's a different one here, but anyways, so I just want to correct myself there. Diageo, that's a pretty decent stock to trade. So I don't know, what are we talking about now? Tesla.
We're going Tesla. I was going to talk about NIO, but
I was going to talk about Lucid. That was next. So
we go.
Neither of us. I mean, Tesla's what, at $8, right?
It's just barely above 8 again.
Yeah. So I think Tesla at 800 is a buy. We've talked about that over and over again. I mean, obviously there's some talk here with Elon and some of the dealings that he made. The greatest trade of all time, selling tens of billions of dollars of Tesla. north of 1,100, now back down to 800. Not that he did that to make it as a trade. It just turns out to be maybe the greatest trade of all time. Seriously, if you look at monetarily wise there. But okay, so Tesla down today. And as you can see, it's only down 0.2% as opposed to the market down 1 full percent. So look, there's been days where Tesla's outpaced the market. It doesn't look like that's going to be today. A nice move back upside here. Tesla has really liked the 750 level. It's also, really liked 800 as well. It seems to be pegged to that. We will probably get some contract expirations at the end of this week. It's the month end, not year end. It's year end for some companies, I guess. Today being the 28th. So we'll see if there's any options here on Tesla, probably around that 800 mark. I like this name. You can see this is the daily chart all the way back down. Just as far as a minute chart goes, though, I mean, today, here's 800. I don't think you're looking at anything else other than 800. We stopped around 800 on Friday before bouncing up into the close at 810. So that's right where we are today. It's going to be a flat open for Tesla. The market dips down. I think you've got to try the long at 800. And then, hey, if it goes to like 795, something like that, you could just get out. This is where we absorbed it on Friday. Basically, this dip from 815 all the way back down stops at about 795. So if you're going to defend 800, you actually have your out here as well. I wouldn't hold it too much past that because the next level down is going to be that 780. So, hey, long at 100, respect that 795, and you should have a winner.
There you go. And as far as NIO goes, like that listing that they're doing, like there's no dilution there. Like there's no new shares, so it's just unlikely, I think, to cause like major price action in the stock. Obviously, it's going to be some certainty because people have been worried about could they get delisted here and what would happen to your shares. So that's why they're making that move. But again, they're not diluting here. If the overall market does pull back, say we take out that 14, I mean, you are looking at this 21 area. We pretty much closed there. We're testing it on those lows. And I would have to say that's a pretty interesting line in the sand, especially in the context that Tesla could be taking out that 800. And if it does, you're going to see NIO come back and test the $20 level, which we left on Friday. And it was one of the first things you looked at the bottom that got made on Friday morning on about 2018 or so and say to yourself, okay, 20 looks like it's pretty defensible in NIO. So I had that written down first, and then you gap up and you're away from it at $21. But we get down there, and I think that's the place to at least take the first attempt to buy NIO. Just throw out that whole gap down. It was just a gap down 18, complete rejection of that area, and then immediately finding 20 as your support on NIO.
Nice look for NIO. It's worth mentioning the Singapore exchange also still considering their application for a listing as well. Lucid, aftermarket, tonight, earnings coming up 2%. That's a lot, no?
Is it?
Is it? I don't know. I mean, we got the Saudis are coming through again here today, and I don't know. We'll just wait to see. We did have that lockup expiration, which was a nothing burger for them. It's been a nice move upside in the last couple of days. Obviously, every stock got killed, so I'm not even going to look at this downside move there. 23.50, 24, 25, all being held nicely here for Lucid. They came out today, and again, manufacturing Saudi Arabia's West Coast. At first sight, outside of the U.S., apparently looking to sign that deal there. So it's a nice move to the upside here for Lucid, up that 2%. And I think it's just people front-running the earnings. I don't know what they're going to say, but again, maybe they talk more about the plant's capacity, timing, things like that. Fisker came out with something similar. Let's just wait to see. I don't mind Lucid. It's on the sticky note here today. I say it's at a key level of $27. You can find it at Trader TV. Sean, check out the sticky note. You're right here at 27. We've just touched it on here in the 20s. What is it, the 20th, or what day is this? The 18th, 19th, 20th there of February. We've touched it there. We touched it again last week and dipped down a little bit. So I like that 27 level here, and we'll just play it off there. If we get long back here at 26, that's even great. All I wrote down here was the reports tonight. It's at a key level, and we do have support somewhere near here, 25. I mean, can we dip below into 24.50? Sure. But I like this area. If you look on a daily chart, it looks even better, in my opinion, down here at 25. So let's wait to see what Lucid does. But I think on any dips, we're buyers. And this is a name that we're going to be watching right off the open for sure.
Yeah, it has to be. If you zoom back far enough in the chart, I'm just sort of remembering when it made a huge move back on the 14th. So you go back a couple of weeks and you're going to see this was it when it took out 27.50. I know it made a huge monster gap up and then still had strength at that level. Same day, supported about 27.25, which is your recent high. So it's got some room to squeeze it if it can break 27, that 27.25. Just looking, the top end here was about $1.25 to 28.50. So that's a pretty achievable range if it's able to break out this morning. Can it get to 30 in advance of the earnings? Would it really have to put in a big squeeze for that to happen? And 30 is that level that if it got to that price today, like that's the first place that I think you're looking for a bit of a short. You go even further back and you see how far this thing dropped when it went through 30, and it just recently put that in as a top-end resistance. So I expect it to be on the move today. I mean, I know Lordstown already reported, but suffice to say, it's Lucid the one that we should be trading, maybe not Lordstown here today. And it's this and NEO that I'm going to be watching in the EV space.
All right, bit of a blast from the past. Bottom end of the board here, ALF, Alphi Incorporated. Got to go way back to last summer. This thing had a bit of a squeeze. Relatively low float, 8 million shares on the float for this thing. Not a lot in the way of news or catalyst, just a lot of online chatter about it. 2 and then 220 resistance levels on the way into the close on Friday. Looking very strong here. It's going to need to prove itself. So if it comes into 220 and then 2 and holds, there's not much above it until probably 3 or higher on the daily chart. So looking pretty strong for ALF. There's also those cybersecurity names. CYRN looking interesting this morning. Not as much attention. IRNT, another one, guys.
I like CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
And then on the same kind of talk there, what about Palantir? And I said they should benefit from the conflict. I mean, they have data, they have surveillance, they have army contracts, state-sponsored government contracts. They have the AI, they have everything here. And yeah, I own Palantir, so it is a little bit talking up my book. But at the same point, I like CrowdStrike as well. I like Snowflake coming to report later on this week as well. Palantir's been pretty disappointing. We talked about the last time I bought this was $12. It's well below that. Well, not well below, but probably gets above it today. We'll see. I just feel like they're the sort of a sleeping giant in all of this. I know they don't make a hell of a lot of money or anything like that, or any money whatsoever, which is disappointing at this stage of their cycle. But hey, look, Palantir's been a pretty good buy down here near 11. So we'll see if it comes back in. For me, it's a screaming buy down here anywhere near $11. You're up 1.5% today. The market's down 1%, which to me I think that pulls back in here for Palantir. So, a nice move down. Obviously, that move below $10. We'll see if that happens again. I'm not sure it will. But again, Palantir right into here. This is from Friday. It opened up at 12. Big move to the downside, and then a nice move back up. So we actually touched 11 on Friday. Remember, Friday was a decent day in the market. So before recovering all the way back, not all the way back, but to 1150. So it's some of these levels that I'm looking at. Palantir on good news, and whenever we think it's about to go, always comes back down. So for me, I was bidding in the 60s. I've canceled that. Now I'm bidding in the 40s to see if we get some love back in here, but definitely understanding that the real big bid's going to come in the teens, and we'll see how it trades, but maybe in the 20s, and then just absorbing this 11. That's it. So we'll see if we can get a nice long here, try to hold it for a winner. We do have obviously some peace talks trying to get going today. I'm hopeful that the headlines coming out of Russia and Ukraine will be on the positive side today. And if that does happen, then I think we'll get a rebound anyway. I mean, I didn't think the market would rally up as much as they did Thursday, Friday, based on an invasion. But remember, we're only 5 days into this thing. Yeah. So a lot could still happen. I'm going to look long for Palantir.
And some of these small cap names, I'm in that IMPP, as you guys can see, but it's not that hard to discern what the plan is here. The last time it's been up like 4 or 5 days in a row now, I guess 4. But the monster gap up it had last week was faded pretty much all day. And this, again, is a gap up instead of it, consolidating and then breaking up, small gap, more a break in the morning. So I'm fading the first consolidation level. Right now that's about 240 in front of this 250 top. I'll try to take 10 cents on the first leg. If it comes down to like $2, that would make some sense. INDO is a bit of a different story here, right? Like it's a small cap, but a little bit more thin. I think a little more dangerous to play to the upside. The 16 level is the first leg we're looking at, and we talked about if it were to break out, could halt on the way up to another test at that 20 even area. Of course, the 9:30 rollover that I wanted, I thought we'd get it maybe on the open. It was going to be square. You can see that actually just pulled back. Go from the 15 to the 1, so you can see that just pulled back $2.50 off of 119. So I don't know if it gets back here at that at the open. We have about a minute to go. This is the one that I wanted off those 120 to 121 highs for the pop and fade notion. So it might have run away from us here, but if we do get any bump back up, it's not like the market's falling. You know, the market's basically flat when Square made this move, or Block made this move, and they did get the upgrade. But we'll see if we can catch a little something around that 119, 120 at the open. Ms. V is going to be on the bell in just a couple of moments here. Worth noting, Lucid starting to run away from that 27 as well.
Yes, it is. And we're also looking here at AMC near 18 bucks. We'll have a look at that. We wrote down on the sticky note here that we like it around 17. So we're bidding AMC right now. With only 20 seconds to go, it's basically time to rock and roll. So get your orders in. There's some key levels that we've obviously talked about. Now, with only 10 seconds to go, we're going to be watching Lucid and Palantir. I think those are the two that we'll probably get into off the open here. Let's go.
3, 2, and 1. Bring it, Ms. V.
Okay, well, Palantir just shot to 12 bucks and through $12 and
fast.
keeps on going and going and going. So we'll wait to see what happens here. Palantir just touched for some reason 12.10 there for PLTR. So no idea why, but we don't care because it is going to the upside right now. So watch out for Palantir here, guys, as the market is taking off.
Yeah, I knew I forgot one. Virgin Galactic, by the way, going to take out this 925. 9.25 is starting to go here. I'm looking at 9.25 to 930 as the first resistance level. Sort of mentioned that one, but look at this big level on the 15-minute chart, guys. If it gets through this, definitely squeezable. So if it breaks 35, that's the out. I knew there was one name that I was forgetting, and IMPP I'm into.
Wow.
And the market just booming here. We're up to 14.1 on the NASDAQ already. So looking at NEO to see if it can put in that move that we're sort of anticipating there. Obviously, yeah, it's about to get to that 22 level, so no pullback at all. And Teledoc as well, Sean.
Yeah, I was
starting to pull back into that 75 range.
Yeah, I was just looking at it, and I actually was thinking about long near 72 on TDOC here. It just pulled down to, I mean, that's a long ways away, but I was thinking about it down here anyways on Teledoc. So something to look at here if you are at all interested in that. But Teledoc right here to the upside, you know, obviously we do like that name. So have a quick look if you are excited or interested in that. But down here, 50 period, $77, definitely something to look at right now with Teledoc. So have your look at that stock, and that's one that I'm going to be looking at if we get to that level. Palantir, we started a little baby bid here. Absolutely nothing. It's like 5% of the shares that we want. We're still waiting down here. I was just like, wow, it got excited to the upside. So we did take a pre-market bid. We're holding this one just more to watch it than anything else. But Teledoc and Palantir on my mind, and we just got into WFC at the bottom here. Maybe possible bottom. Let's see where we go.
Yeah, that IMPP starting to come downside here. So a bit of a level off on Virgin Galactic, but IMPP will do the first ring the Reggie. Hitting the basketball ones today because I'm going to the game tomorrow with Trader Prad. So excited about that with things opening back up, but not yet taking out the low of the day, or $2.25 on IMPP. $2 the ultimate target there. Now Square is, there we go, making that pop up. It's tested 120, no curl, 121, nothing. On the 15-minute, this is the actual top end of the range here, so trying to be a little bit more patient as you want to catch it. Usually I want to catch these on the way back down, but this is that last little line in the sand here. If it breaks out from here, it's got some room to run. For now, looks like 122 is holding, and I wanted to see it start to come down and slow down before I got into that first leg. Instead of getting run over with an opening order on something a little more volatile, let's see if I can catch it on the curl. But that top looks like 122.50.
Right, yeah, same thing here. We're trying to do basically the same thing with AMD. Waiting to see if we do pop back down a little bit here. The market is off, and this is a name that we like. So we do like AMD, but up here, 121, 121.50. I mean, that's a pretty high move. We've already touched that today. So I was hoping that we would get a little bit of a pullback here into AMD, but it doesn't look like it wants to. So, okay, here it comes right back in. Again, we're going to watch the NASDAQ. We do have bigger fish to fry here. Here comes WFC. So we're getting ready. Again, we wanted to defend this 52 area. So we are at 52 teens to low. Oops, that's still the AMD chart to get into this. So we'll watch out for 52. Does it respect it or not? But 52 coming here for WF. Oh, that's an ugly chart there for WFC. So let's wait to see if it holds it. We're looking to get a lot longer here in the teens on WFC. It's coming in. Not a good trade so far. Long 52s on this one, but we've got to hold it. That's the point.
Yeah, it just got taken out square through the top, so we wait for the curl. Thank goodness. At least we're going to lose about $1 there. And thinking T-Doc here, we're looking at that 75 support area. Just checked up at 76 quarters. And this is that 75 I was talking about from earlier, but 76 quarters, it just checked up. I grabbed 77s long in front of it. This thing, okay, the market's starting to come up. Get out in front of that level a little bit here and see if it actually has a secondary run in it. We saw firm for a couple of days was pretty strong. If we can start to level off above 75, that's the area that I want to be able to get into it. I said Virgin Galactic could be in squeeze territory if it took out that 35 level. So it is trying to break. I did manage to just get out there at 35, but it's not really flying to the upside. So if I'm going to switch to a long, it's going to have to be maybe it pulling back in front of 9 even. But on the daily, it does, on the 15-minute, it does look relatively strong. So do watch out for that. T-Doc, I'm not looking to take anything out till it gets a little bit closer to that $80 level. Looking for $2 on the first entry. And then INDO was the other name, that small cap. So I'm into that IMPP, never got INDO. Not moving upside at all. Looks like it's only sliding to the downside. It might be safe to start thinking about fading this, although I did think it might run upside.
Ooh, that's loud today. New position here on Lucid, so we'll take it. We've missed, obviously, we haven't missed it, but the run up we missed there. Where's my 1 minute chart? Here it is, to show you guys where we're in. There it is. So, okay, so here it goes. Here we go. Hopefully to the upside right now. We're long at 38. It's at 52. We just took some out for a dime. New position on Lucid. It just started to go, so we'll see. It just respected that 27.50 area, so let's do a little bit of a look here on the 20-minute. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, we already talked about this. There's that 27.25 area. It's coming back in now. Lucid is a name that we want to be long today. We talked about them reporting, but look at the futures now starting to come back in. So a little bit of a concern. Oh, man, we just, like, honestly, man, we were at 16 here. It went to 21 on WFC before coming back up. So that appears to be so far so good here on the hold. But Lucid, okay, so starter position out a little bit there at that level. Now we'll wait to see 27. It's coming back in. Let's add to this long position here on Lucid.
And watching NEO here, it just spiked up through 22, an immediate rejection. Like that wick top is actually pretty interesting. As you look at that capitulation almost off that high at 22, watching pre-market highs at about 21.30, if it's going to check up and give any kind of a consolidation there, that's got to be where I think I'd want to dig into it. Looking for an add in Teladoc if it can hold that 75. And just thinking about INDO, I'm going to get into that short at some point. And watch out AMD. That's the next one here, starting to get a little bit spicy. Back down towards that 120 level if it'll load up here. 120 was the previous pre-market highs here. I want to see if it can hold. Brendo?
VTRS, I saw a couple people mentioning this. Just a heads up, this is a stock deal. So VTRS headed downside. I'll show you in a sec. But Biocon Biologics acquiring this one, VTRS. But both heading southbound right now, 12% for VTRS.
All right. Wow. Okay, WFC. I see you. Let's take some out here. Yeah, that's a big rip. There, we were not expecting that one, so we'll go, yeah, buddy, for that as WFC just takes off back to the upside. We talked about, trying to defend that 52 level. Unfortunately, we had a good idea there, but we didn't execute properly. We should have been longer down here. We were waiting in the teens, and there goes WFC to the upside. So good trade there. Lucid, we've just averaged in. It's right back down to the 50-period moving average. I think we're going to be done now at these levels. We still wanted, let's try to respect our own sticky note here a little bit. And that is that 27 was a key level, so fine. We're in it. We're long at 27.18. We're happy with that. It's just ultimately, we knew this name could drop, right? And it's been a violent name in its existence. So we got to wait now to see what happens down into here. We don't need to average in even here at 26. We're going to wait for a little bit lower, man, 26.30, 26.40 to see if we respect some of these, because we know Lucid can go back up to the upside. It's just we could get in trouble if we start just average, because then by the time it finally comes down here, we'll have too many shares. So let's wait to see. Hopefully Lucid can respect something down here. And my next bid on this name isn't until 26.05. I think we got to up that a little bit. Let's try 26.20 or so here on LCID. What's up, Brendo?
More strength in resource stocks, guys. CLF just popping up on volume through 22 there. Got above that high from Friday on decent volume right out of the gate, but coming into some resistance. But Cliff, guys, on the run.
Right before we went to Brendan the first time, I was saying watch out AMD looking to try to hold that 120 level. It broke out right at the open with the overall market right here at that same price. It's now consolidating right above it. There was a wick bottom into that quarter range, so I'm going falling sword, sort of tight stop in that 17, only because 118.50 was a level I wrote down and really liked for AMD. So if it can hold this temporary bottom. I'll look to see if it can take out the high. Otherwise, we're shooting for 118.50. I think that's the next leg down that we want to see if we can hold. I never got on Indo. IMPP just popped back up a little bit here into 230. I was waiting at 235 to add to my short position. Looks like we might not be able to get that. $2 is still the ultimate target here, but this one now starting to run away from us a little bit. And I was mentioning NIO trying to hold up. Yeah, it looks like it could not. It just broke that 2130 briefly. So what goes up must come down. I mean, that's a pretty fast reversal there for NEO. I think 20 is your real support level at this particular point. I guess if it goes anywhere close to 22, it turns into a bit of a fade for me. And going back over to Teledoc, it's leveling off. Oh, goodness, I typed in NASDAQ. No. Oh, there we go. It's starting to try to level off here. I still think 75, which it's bounced off once, is sort of that line in the sand. If it can go again, I need a consolidation to add to this position. It's been falling like a rock sort of at the open as everyone runs to take their profits on the Amazon news.
Yeah, I have a bid at 73. Okay, so this is still not near 73.50. Okay, what has become a little bit of a problem? Okay, so first of all, WFC, a nice one, man. Up to 88, 89, 90s here. Like, this should have been a monster. Unfortunately, we waited for it, and it just didn't come in as much as we had hoped. It almost did. I mean, why not? Down to 52.20 when we were waiting at 16, but the bid started early and, taken there as a profit spot there for WFC. Maybe we'll take out one more piece here at 74, and then I do have one at 90 still on WFC, so we'll wait for that one. Lucid coming back a little bit. We dipped down as far as 40s. That could have been a buy. So let's put a bid there right now, 26, 45 or so for Lucid. What we'll average into this one now down here. We wanted to let it drop, see if it could get even lower for us, but it doesn't look like that came through. So Lucid right now just kind of ho-humming itself here to the upside. So we'll see if that can go now. That's going to be Lucid. Comes back in there. It is. We got another fill. So again, we're waiting for this. We're waiting for down here. 25 is going to be the ultimate area for support down here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for it. I was, if I'm too far into this, maybe 25.80. But again, I do want to average into Lucid. I still think there's a chance for it to go. Remember, they are reporting there. And then Palantir. So, I'm waiting here in the 40s. We miss. Here comes now, down into the 40s. But remember, we're looking for this level, 11.25 or so, to watch what happens at 11. So we can't average in too much now because we do have the plan of execution down near 11. So we'll take a spot right here on Palantir. We're long at 59 on this name. NEO back down to 21 right now. Possible long Uber at 35 as well.
Yeah, some names starting to come back in here. Looking at Square, obviously, because that was the one we were first in, still holding right up around that 121 area. So first shot, we took our stop out. Now you're going to see it really start to level off here. If we like this top the first time through, then I'm going to have to let it retest that high a little bit. So if we can get back into a 122.5, it looks like it's reestablishing that high. So you got to be patient with this open. It feels like the market tested higher, 14.1 on the NASDAQ, but really we're just in that 100-point range, and 14,000 is support on the NASDAQ. So you don't want to be, too aggressive with shorts when you're still above that 14,000, and that can be a little bit of danger zone, guys. And just got stopped out on Teledoc. It looks like it broke 75, but barely. Really? So I'm gonna have to get back into that one. That looks like a wick out to me now that I watched it. But Square, I'm gonna be taking a second shot at this, likely around 123. Gonna go also back over to INDO for you guys. IMPP looks pretty solid, but INDO is just as weak. If it gets any kind of a bump to the upside, I was looking at $16. I think 15 might have to be it if it can catch any kind of a bounce. It's still risky as a bit of a low floater, but it looks like the pre-market pump might be done here.
Yeah, our boy Lucid coming back nicely right now as well. And then there goes Palantir. We'll fire off some cannons for that one because Palantir, nice average. We just got 63s there on Palantir, so that was good for us for a win. And then as we said, WFC came back in. And I got some out here at 53 because we do notice, so we're out of 80% now of our WFC. So, and I obviously noticed that we could be coming back into the downside. And as the tech names work, the financial names don't, right? So we're out, well, not that they don't, but that's the relationship so far here today. Still down 3%, good taken out here as we cross the 50-period cross, everything to the upside taken out. So now we'll wait for that teen bid to come through here on Wells Fargo, Brendo.
Big bounce, guys, for Ride. We were talking about in the pre-market there, off of these lows from last week, 275. Got tested there right out of the gate, but huge volume just came in there on the buy side.
Should have just shorted ride as much as we were trash talking.
So we should short T-Doc because like we talked about that Amazon deal.
Only at the high though.
I
Like,
know,
it
at 80,
never got
like
to the
just
price.
at 80 clean, we should have had that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It has to be at the price you want. And speaking of the prices that you want, you might see me and Reggie fading it near that high, 61 right now, 61.50 the price. But I'll be in and out of that sometimes. A firm went to $40, guys. 39.85 and pulled back right into that 38 level. That's a big level on a firm. I'll go over to the 15 so you can kind of see. It just spiked up there on Friday and then immediately failed. So another wick top on a firm. That's a little bit more low-hanging fruit here. And once I see something like this, it's now a fade off of that high every single time. Just going to quickly show you. Remember, Reggie, these guys are being bought for cash 61.50 by Chevron. So I'm just looking at the opening established range here with about 60.75 as the top, and I'm just looking to scalp it. So there's nothing too sexy about this, nothing too complicated. Just trying to get in and out of this a few times. And it's going to be able to give you 10 to 20 cents maybe worth of gross. If you're into that sort of a thing, fantastic. If that's not enough for you, then you got to have that direct market access. But it should be pretty active here today.
All right, I'm into a firm right now. So let's see where we go on this name. And again, this is just going to be something that we're going to sort of sit on here and see. We do have the 50 period right here at 38.77, maybe 38.50, 38 even as a dump out here. And let's just trade it. You can see Upstart starting to go. I see people on the chat talking about them. Not that they're the same name as a firm, because they're not. But if some of these names are getting some love, maybe it will at some point transfer over to a firm. We'll start the position now. We'll see about it respecting, and I've talked about buy now, pay never with a firm, and it's not that I like the name, but down here, 38 seems to have been a decent level. So let's but look at the spread though. Oh man, this is not, for a $38 stock, it really shouldn't have like a 15-cent spread like this. So liquidity is not very strong on this name. All right, let's stop it right now. We're in it. We're only in it 20% of the position that we want. So if it comes back down in here to 38.20 or something, that's where we'll talk about it again. And then we'll look at it at 38 flat. So 38.20 coming through right now. That's where we'll put our bid, and just watching everything else here. Palantir flat, WFC back into the money 10 cents, and then Lucid still out 40 cents. But I do have an offer here at 80. So if Lucid does come back up, what are we long at now? We're long at 03. So we will take a little bit of a hit. It's just these two lines here, the VWAP and the 50 period, pointing directly down. So not great, obviously, for Lucid, but maybe we've caught a little bit of a bottom, but we do need to relieve some pressure downside here. So if we can get it out, 26.80, we'll take out, what am I sitting there for? That's 10%, so it's nothing, but maybe we get it out and then hopefully run back up to the upside. So that's what I'm doing with Lucid. And then again, a firm, we're in a position right now, 39 bucks. Let's give it down to 38 flat, average in at 38.20, and that's that.
Yeah, and look, the NASDAQ, it's down 0.8, but there's some seriously strong names here. And I'm looking at Square, it retested that high. There was no curl in sight. You're now breaking out well past this 20 level, well past that 22, up here at that 24. There's room to 30 if you look at the last little wick here. So once they break through levels like this, it turns into a new territory, flip into a long idea. And I'm looking at 122.23 on a pullback, 125 on a clean break, just because it's a round number. But when the curl doesn't happen through a level that good, it does turn into a momentum break again, and just the gaps that this stock is putting in here they're just too big to ignore. So watch out this 125. It starts to come in. Also, IMPP going to come up for a reload. Just got back up to that 238, 240 level, so that's where we're getting in the first time. We're going to jump right back in. Didn't get it at the open when it came up here, but I'm going to see if we can make sure we get some shares there in the 27 to 28 range as it comes back downside. It's rejected twice at that 240. It did give me 218s here on the last flush, so it has given us profit a couple of times. But rolling back into it up near that high, and let's see if we can't get in some square. I wanted that one pulling back a little bit. You're seeing it start to pull in off that 125. But once it retook that, claimed that high, there was no slowdown whatsoever that would have got me into a short thinking it could fade off of this level. At this point, we're in breakout territory on Square. I'd love to catch it around VWAP, but you might not be able to get it at that price.
All right. Yeah, Square. Yeah, we'll see. Right now, the market, it's still fluttering. Like, it's not doing anything. Definitely was hoping that we'd get a little bit more action here. Look at the NASDAQ. It's like, whatever, man. A nice little move to the upside, came back down, tested for. I mean, look, we're still at that same level that we like, 14,000. I mean, it's doing nothing. So very, very hard to pick some directional winners here today, but we'll try our best for you. Just not moving, man. I mean, where do we think the market's going to go? I thought very similar to, I guess, what everybody's thinking right now, and that is this is a game of wait and see for this market. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait and we're going to see what winds up happening. I feel like there's going to be some good talk coming today. I feel like maybe it's just a bull in me, but let's just see. Here we go. We did average into WFC. It came back into that level. We were waiting for 52 teens, but we do get 52.25 there as that's starting to go back up to the upside. Here goes Palantir again. A nice little average. Might as well take some out if we can at 54. There it is. Rips right through. There's that low 40 bid on Palantir that we were talking about that we like. So there it is. Another out at 55 as we're starting to go back up now to the upside here for Palantir's working. WFC's trying to work. I am trying to get a little bit out. We're long at 32 here on WFC. We're waiting in the 40s to get a piece out on this one. So there it is. Yes, we did. We got that 41. So here we go. Starting to make some moves here on some of these names. Let's go over to B-Dog.
JP Morgan, guys, you're talking about WFC there. JP Morgan just breaking day lows to the downside here, 143, now 3.2%. A few people circulating a note suggesting JP Morgan working on some sort, doesn't actually specify what, but some sort of fintech business. So heads up on JPM, pretty weak.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So we'll see if there's any legs to that. Obviously, we know they're looking to dig into the competition. I think obviously we'll see what happens there. But I'm not going to jump in on a headline like that without any more certainty. So I'm going to take the first leg, trying to get a long and square. I still like it a little bit better if we get back down to this like quarters range. So I wasn't really willing to give it that much room. So into VWAP range at about 122. If it gets down to that price, it has to consolidate at this point. The market is whipsawing, and I'm going to start to get way more patient because if you look at this, it's 1400 to 14.1, and on the 60-minute, you can see absolutely nothing going on in that range. You're just bouncing back and forth. So I look at what just happened on Virgin Galactic, was able to get back into it as it just put in a double top up there at 935. We got ticked into this at the open instead of waiting for it to curl a little bit, and now it's put in a double top. So I'm going to do the normal thing. If you get wicked out at the high and then you see the same resistance level get put in, I'm just going to jump right back to the original thesis. It still needs to break 910 to look good. But I'll probably get some out in front of that if we can grab 15 cents. Ultimately, you're still talking about a $9 stock here. And I know we ignored Lordstown to look at some other names, but that's too good of a drop to ignore. If this one wants to pop back in and give you anything up to like 290 for a fade, I think it's going to be well worth it. And just checking back in before we go to Brendan here, NEO's still holding above 21. But it's really starting to get dicey at that level. It's a couple of times it's managed to bounce off of it. Gets below that. Remember, 20 is the big support. Brendo?
Another one that continues to impress off big week last week. Clover Health, guys, if you remember. Decent earnings report for them, up another 5% here today. Straight to the upside for Clover.
All right. Yeah, we should be looking at that. Like, unfortunately here, we are stuck. The only trade that we're going to have as a loser today's on, and it's not a good one, is Lucid, because we're just sitting here. Like, Palantir's been good. WFC's been great. Look at WFC, man, all the way back up to 44. So it's been a nice little long year for us on WFC. We're now long at 25. It's up to 40, so that's been good. But there's been absolutely no give at all for us here on Lucid. It's just straight to the downside. And I feel like any little pop up here, I'm going to have to take something out. I just put an offer at 35 now as we get to 20 long. So, yeah, I don't know, man. We'll take another piece out. We did put an oversized bid here. We talked about that. But again, like, I'm getting pretty nervous as it's just been straight to the downside. We talked about some of the technicals just pointing straight down. And honestly, I thought Lucid could have a run into the earnings, but I guess it's another sell situation here for LCID today. So this is not going to be nice. Down here breaking 25.80 is going to be nasty. So we'll see if that comes through for us. That'll be a bad trade. But yeah, the market upside right now, which is disappointing for Lucid, because I thought that if the market would at least hold up, which it's been doing, we were down 1+% down here. Now you're starting to go to the climb to the high side. We may even get positive today, and Lucid just keeps pushing lower. So everything working except for this name. So this is really the name that we have to manage, and we talked about trying to get some out, which we just did there at 25, but we need to get a little higher out here as now we're starting to climb. So let's take some pieces out here of Lucid.
Yeah, Square just ran away from the bid I had at 122.5 or so, but I'm going to sit around there in front of VWAP, see if I still get it. U.S. Steel, a lot of these names were running high at the open. You actually see it break out. Remember, we were trading this off 27 on Friday. It broke that 27, and guess what? Looks like that resistance turned immediately back into support. So whipsaw action in some of the metals names that I've been watching here at that open, and U.S. Steel off 27. Looks like it could be a bit of a bid. The market's now starting to really go back above that 14.1, so I think we are getting the breakout we're looking for. That means NEO holding that 21 area. So now you have that support. It's managed to hold. You could have potential break coming at that 21.40. It's established a bit of a range. 21 looks like the support over 20 at this point. Brendo, we're going to you again.
Another little, well, it's not an energy company, but it's a company with energy exposure, TPIC. TPI Composites is the name of the company here, popping up, guys. Through 14, relatively small market cap here, but lots of volume for TPIC.
Okay, Lucid, I see you now. Okay, so now Lucid, all we have to do is trash talk it just a little bit. Look at Palantir right now, by the way. It's a good one for us, up to 57. So we'll be like, yeah, buddy, and hit that today. Everything's working. It's literally just Lucid, man. This stock just continues to get beat down. We now have to hold it. We've taken out some of that pressure now on the downside. And man, it's just the same thing is going to reign true. Like, here we go. If we just stick to this stupid sticky note of ours and we respect lower levels, like we mentioned here on Lucid, then yeah, man, I mean, this would have been something that we could have respected on the downside. And here it goes. I need to take something out now, up to 63. Give me that 63s, man, on Lucid. We are long now 39. So if we just get a little bit of a bump up, we should start taking some more out here. That was a good one. What is that? That's the 50 period rate here is 70. So here it comes up to 70. Good trade so far. We have been taking pieces out, right? So still not a profitable name. If it can get back up above north of 27, then we're really cooking with gas here on Lucid. And this is a big win for me. So let's just get going through 27. We did put on our biggest position down here. That's why we're able to scalp some out. But again, in, and then these outs, we need some outs up here for this to be a big trade. So that's what we're waiting for. Big trade alert, though, on Palantir, as that's up to 58. We'll take another piece out right now on Palantir. That's been great. I wish we didn't do that. That was a starter position, but nicely done back down here to 1140. And again, those are exactly the levels that we talked about. 1150 on here for Palantir. So waiting for that would have been a little bit better. Here we go, up to 70 now for Lucid. So finally starting to put this name back into the green side for our net, guys.
Yeah, and breaking back up, like we said, NEO, we're going to get into it off of that 21. We just took out VWAP and it got to 50s. I actually took the 50 break as it did happen. Going to get some out on the way to that 22, and I'll show you why on the 15. Look, that's a big wick top, and Friday's top was right at like 21.85. So I think you could have some resistance up at that price. Overall, the market finally broke out and picked a direction. So unless it really, really stinks, you want to be on the long side here today. AMD looking like it's about to take out that high. So I'm on the offer. See if I get that first leg in NEO.
Shit.
That does mean... I know, right? But that does mean on Virgin Galactic, we might be reloading it. Now, obviously, this has been relatively weak. And the lower high being put in as the market tests the top. I want to wait for like 930, 935 up here. But if it's not even strong enough to get to that price, I might have to take the reload a little bit shallower than we're anticipating. So we stopped out originally on Virgin Galactic. I think we were in too early because we got filled at 930. You never want that to happen. Now I'm looking to see as it calms down to just play what looks like a bit of a channel forming and fade every single pop there. I did just get the first target on NEO. I think I want to rinse and repeat this one if I can. Oops, off of VWAP and that previous pre-market high 2130, but the market is headed up, so hold on to your longs.
Oh, bang is in the building again. Check out Affirm. We didn't even, I wasn't even looking at Affirm because I'm just crushing this Lucid right now. Look at Affirm, guys. We went long 39. First piece out 39.60. It's at $40 right now. That's $1 in the money. Affirm. Lucid 80 cents now in the money. And yeah, welcome to Greensville. Must be nice for you, Lucid. Not green yet on the stock. Well, the stock is green, but we are now Greensville on Lucid. Bang, bang, bang. Look at this. Like an idiot, getting out all the way up. Like, this is what I said I try to do better on, but still, man, I see that cash money and we do something like this. We spin it because we're looking to make
money.
Man, that's annoying. Okay, so there it goes back up to the upside. Lucid, nicely done out at 27. We told you this is where we needed this bad boy. Come on, Lucid, just get going, man. We have that bottom. This is a great, I'm like super excited about this trade just because it's working out so damn good right now. Palantir to the upside as well, off of that 1140. Darn it, Sean, use more shares, dog. Up to the upside, 11.65, and we're still going. Affirm, $1. Affirm breaking out now, over $40. We don't have a losing trade on today, guys. So Affirm, WFC, oh, well, that's only 20 cents in the money. Palantir, 25 cents in the money. Lucid, $1 in the money. Affirm, $1 in the money. That's it. That's the only stocks we've traded today. And if you look at the sticky note, it's just going one more time. At Trader TV Sean, do not be fooled. You know, lots of imitators, but there's only one out here. There's Lucid, Palantir, AMC, WFC. The only name that we haven't traded here is AMC, but we're 3 for 3 on the other ones. So keep the train going to the upside here. Today is a good day, but not over yet, Neil. Let's keep this market rocking.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, not over yet, but my Neo trade just out. We said we got to 22. We're going to take it out here in front of that high. It already put in one curl and pulled back like a full dollar, so you want to make sure you're trading. If you got a 50 long, then I'm looking at the half buck at that point, so I'm going to exit that trade. You say Affirm 40, and the first thing, we're going to go to Brendan in a quick second, but Affirm just broke that 40 on a fail break. If it does do a fail break, I should say, and gets back below that price, I always like that fade back in as we take you to Brendan at the big screen to find out what's happening now.
Hey guys, still red, but we're off the lows right across the board here for U.S. equities. NASDAQ leading 0.3 now in negative territory, was more than a full percent when you first joined us this morning. The Dow 1.3%, 0.8 there for the S&P 500. Here in Toronto, the TSX did open about 0.9, and then we got back to 0.5% as well. So heading in the right direction. Worth noting, crude oil back to 3.5, so heading to the downside, even though still positive. Few things we were discussing. If you joined us in the pre-market this morning, JP Morgan and the rest of the big banks still very weak. Some individual news coming through there, as I mentioned on JPM. Tesla, another one, still back to day highs for Tesla. So a nice look there for the EV sector. Lockheed Martin as well. Some of the defense stocks still in pretty good shape, holding on to gains as well. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Brendan. So we are still looking at Affirm here above that 40 level. You're going to see the last little wick top. It got to 40, 30 and change or so as it's trying to roll over a little bit here. And again, anything that goes up a little too parabolically, you're going to see me try to get into. There we go. Just got Affirm as it retook that 40 level. Actually ended up hitting that 40 myself. And if it would take out the top, I'm just going to get out of it. I'm looking for like that VWAP retracement idea. So everything on the way down into VWAP is definitely going to be in play and game to start taking profits. So you'll see me get on the bid here over and over again and see if we can't get this one sliding back into the downside. Again, this is not thinking it necessarily has to break the trend. It's breaking a key level. It's sliding back in below and then looking for another pullback here. Virgin Galactic, I'm looking for the reload as well. IMPP, if you're watching that one, it made a wick top at 2050, now consolidating right at my entry point. So this is yet another one. I'm on the bid. I'm going to get some out of this in front of VWAP as well, as a matter of fact, because I want to make sure we're taking some profit on that name on the way back down. AMD holding above 122. That is also in a bit of breakout territory.
All right, so we just sat back down here. Let's see what we're working with here. Yeah, Affirm, so that's still good, up near 40. Okay, so Lucid, looks like we did get a nice little out there at 21. Sometimes you just stick the offer out there and you take it, so that's a good one for us there. WFC, 30 cents in the money. I'm just reviewing some of these positions as we come back here and see what's popping off. Where do we get out on Palantir? Anything high? Yeah, okay, so that was good. 65, 67. Again, so now we're basically flat on Palantir right now. We will wait for this reload down here. Let's put the bid right now on this reload. And again, down here, whoopsies, not $11. That's not going to fill. Down at 11, I just put 11 by accident. Down here at 11.40, maybe it does take out this bottom. Let's wait for 11.30s or so on Palantir. And you know what, man? Like, honestly, if we miss it, then we miss it because we're going to wait. We'll wait a little aggressive. We'll go at 35. That's not very aggressive, but down into here for 11. That's kind of what we're waiting for. And then let's not sleep on Lucid. We've already let this thing climb for us. We'll offer some 03s and see if we get some more out there. Oh, there it goes. It just runs us over there at 03. So that's going to be another decent out for us. Looking to get high outs now. I mean, we'll see if this one wants to flow. It's going to be a big trade. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day. We said we'd look at AMC, so let's quickly do that for the Ape Nation. Where's that ape thing that we have? Nope. Yep. Nope. Hold on. Yep.
I never find
there it is. Yeah, we got it. So let's check out AMC quickly here for you guys as we hit it without even calling up the stock. 18 bucks. Okay, so not much happening. We wrote down on the sticky note, I believe, that we like that 1650 level down here on AMC. That's right here. That's 17. No, we must have wrote down 17. Let me double check. Yeah, will it take the 18? That's the question we had to ask. But then we really like it down here at 17. So it did take 18 today, I believe. Yeah, it got as high as 18.20. Now pulling back. Again, I feel like this needs to fall even more. I want to look at AMC down near 17. So just like Lucid, let's not get carried away and get this thing too early. Let's start putting on some positions right now with other names and wait for AMC. So AMC back down near 17, which is actually where my bids are right now. So a quick double check on that one. We're going to wait down for 17. I'm actually bidding 17.20, guys.
So a couple of legs we're able to get out there on a firm. It keeps taking this like 39, 80-ish area. And then my rest of my bids are every 10 cents down into VWAP. And every time it ticks down, we take a little bit more out. It's still retesting that high. So it has a chance to resume that breakout. I guess we waited around for Square to finally retest that VWAP for entry point. At this point, I think we're in the midst of a breakout, but as the market pulls back in, you want to be a little bit more patient. We just hit 14.1, so if we're going to sit in this channel, I'll zoom in so you can see a little better. If we're going to sit in this channel in the NASDAQ, I think you got to be willing to hold on to some kind of a long as long as we're going to be in that range. And for Square, that might mean retesting like 121, 122 at this point. So if I think this is us turning into the market and going alongside, going to have to hold on to one of these at some point. I think it's going to have to be Square, although my chart there just blew up on me, so I'm gonna have to reload my black chart up to the top. I know, right? And if you're watching this, Reggie, I was looking to trade this over and over again in the range. It's actually reestablished a lower range now with about 60.50 as the top as it grinds lower. Looks like I should have held that short, but that's a scalp trade all the way because it's a leveraged buyout. No way I was going to sit there thinking it was going to give me 50 cents. Apparently it was. Brendan?
Not seeing much on this guys yet, but WNW, another micro cap, tiny float on this one as well. Halted at the top there, 270, coming straight back to the downside, but decent volume on this guy's up 20% for WNW.
So I know Neil and I are different ways here on a firm, but I mean, it is making sense here. It is starting to make these highs over and over and over again, up at 40.20. So I mean, that's $1.20 for us there. We should probably take that, especially since now that I look at this thing here, I mean, I haven't traded a firm in forever, and for me, it doesn't really matter what I trade. I like to trade the same names that I'm familiar with, but at the same time, as long as there's kind of volume, which a firm has, then to me, the patterns kind of always stay the same. We prefer to go long on this, and the reason why it's higher than the market today, right? 2.3, there it goes, let's go. 2.5% up, now 3%, Now it's starting to go. And you could see here is that the NASDAQ underperforming a firm. So that's why we take this. Here we go, $1.25 now in the money for a firm. That's starting to go. Lucid all the way back up. So we did take a piece out there at VWAP. We still have about... It's not much, man. It's like 20% of this position still on, or of the whole total position on. But you could see just like you would think that I have an algo or something, but in, out, collecting rebates all the way up. We're not paying for each one of these trades, so don't forget about that. It's not like these are each costing me $5 or $10. I'm actually getting paid to add liquidity each time, so I'm actually making money on that. A firm now $1.50 now in the money. That's good. Palantir still not reloading that one. And WFC, a nice one. So we're going to go perfect on our sticky note today and just look for some more. It's only 10:06. I actually thought it was a lot later than this. Maybe we can look at Clover here as that is up 7% right now. Clover rocking. Watch out for 275. I almost think it's a short, dare I say.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, last I looked at Clover anyways. I'll double check that one, but $3 was a pretty key price last I looked. Firm, we're going to get half out, and then we're going to lose on the second half. So overall, it's a bit of a nothing burger at that fail break at 40, which obviously is not a fail break at this point. Clover, because you just mentioned it. Whoops. Oh, God, it's a NASDAQ stock. Load, please don't lose me.
Yep.
I know. Now, every time you get it wrong, it's like now I have to wait for it to load up.
Punish it.
But if it gets through that 275, I've been playing the quarters to 50s on this stock, and I know because last time we shorted it was back through 50. But if we can get, then that's not going to load. There we go. The $3 level, that's both your 50 period. It's also the recent high. I think if it goes it gets any stronger, that's definitely the level. So I knew 3 was the one there. I wouldn't be thinking about shorting it till 3. That's the same thing with a firm. Like wait for it to get to that 40. It tries to break and then tries to go. And we tried it there. It's not going to end up not working out and following through, but at least we're able to take some profit on it. Got back into IMPP. I think I was showing you guys. That one will load for me there. IMPP has some room. So if it takes out this 250, the current high, you got to be out of this because $3, again, kind of like Clover, $3 is that big level. So it's been retesting a couple times. I'm on the bid below VWAP here. But if we take out 50, that is a strong move to the upside. It looks like we're not fading. It's not going to be the way to go. I'd be watching out for some of your long names. I know Square got that reload on that trade, but the market's starting to come back in. If we hold 14,000, I think the longs are fine. But that's that big level, and we've been going back and forth in between it and been shaking a lot of these trades out. Once we establish that this is the bottom, I think you can be reloading in front of your individual names in front of that 14,000. But if 14,000 goes, the longs are pretty much kaputs in some of these higher flyers. I'm going to start working off of 250 and IMPP. If anything, volume kicks up, that could be a breakout. But if you can see here, volume's still tremendously low at these bottoms. That's why I still favor the short, because the volume's really tapering off here.
Doesn't always have to be sticky note time. As here we go, Teladoc, right back in. Your boy's hitting this again right now. There's that 73.50 that we said we'd wait for. So we have 73.50 long on Teladoc. We just took out 20 cents. It just went in the money 50 cents. I'm thinking that that's probably a decent level there. If we can get anything out near that 74 one more time, if you dance with that devil, let's just take it out. And then we'll see if we can get Teladoc back here to 75 and change. But here it is, man, a nice win for us. Look, I mean, this is like, is everything we're touching just going to gold here? T-Doc right now, we need Peter Schiff back on. Talk about gold here, because there we go, up to 85 now. Teladoc rocking. Let's go, Teladoc. Here we are. We're in the 90s right now, trying to take a piece out. So did we just get that or not? Yes, we did. Bang, another one. There it is. Spin it.
Money.
So Teladoc, another victory for us today. Look, Affirm, $1.50 in the money. Lucid, $1 in the money. Palantir, 15 cents. T-Doc, 50 cents in the money. WFC, 40 cents in the money. Brendan, kill him.
Hey Sean, we've got a super chat from Henry Zat saying Trader TV is the best. Thank you so much, Henry. Our trading community indeed is the best. So team, please make sure you support us. Like this video. 7,000 people are watching us right now, and we need your help. Back to you guys.
Guys, at Trader TV, Sean, hit that up. Go ahead. Teladoc right now, monster move.
Neo about to break out that high again. So we took the range from VWAP all the way to the top. It's putting in a double top. 22.10 is your current high of the day. There's some room if it gets to like 22. If it gets through this 22, I think we can go to like 22.5, 23. Remember, the market's still pulling back in here, so I don't like a breakout under those conditions. But as long as we consolidate, the market goes back up. Watch out for another entry into Neo. I'm either getting it on the dips or we're catching that breakout when it comes. But 22.10 is the level. That's the actual high of the day, not 22 even. So I don't like that 22 even break. I'm going to be in and out of Reggie again, as it looks like it's kind of giving you free 60-50s to about 60-30s or so, as there's an iceberg on that offer. Brendan?
Another defense stock to add to the list, guys. Kratos Defense, which is KTOS. Just popping up on a volume scanner there. Big volume at day highs. So KTOS, almost 10% for that one, too.
All right, we're just going to, T-Doc is now 80 cents in the money. And, normally we'd be like super happy taking that amount. I mean, we've already taken out 2/3, one for 30 cents, one for 50 cents. And we just bounced a little bit here. It looks like there is some resistance at 74.50. I'm obviously noticing that the 75.20 or so is the 50 period. If we can get some love back in there, look, I don't like this name, but when you get an Amazon bump like that, then we should think about trading it. And we said that we would do that today. So there it is. We're very, very patient with that price. I'm not going to let this break back lower. So 73.40, I've just decided I'm actually going to put in a stop right now if we break lower than that, because we've already hit it and I don't love the name. So we're going to make sure that we get out if it does go back down. We're just holding it there for some, a little bit of a risk on position there for Teladoc. It cannot be a loser. We're up on every single name we've traded today so far. So hopefully you guys are having some success as well. And by the way, that Affirm just rocked up to 40.80 $1.80 right there. I think this is going to be a good price for us to get out, as I don't really have any high side spots for a firm. I know, obviously, I don't have to, sometimes I don't like when I'm long and Neil's short and vice versa, but he's out, which is good. We've broke some certain levels out here. So for me, I don't trade a firm nearly that much, but, that should have been maybe taken out there at 40.50. Just looking back on a 20 period, I mean, maybe we get to $42. You can see, though, the futures are tanking back in now. So I'm debating taking this $1.70 right here on a firm and just calling it a day, but it's still pretty strong. So let's try to hold it for just a little bit more. We've already taken out half for what at that time was 50 cents exactly, and now we're $1.50 in the money on a firm. So let's hold the last little bit and see if we can't take out new highs, looking at 42, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that IMPP broke that 250 level, so it was a huge volume spike, which is definitely enough for a reversal. I needed to see the volume come back up, at least to Friday afternoon levels, and then we actually got it. So we're going to be long. Short was working, so we had some profit on the short, but now we're flipping to the long side. And there's a lot of room, like I said, to about $3 for this name. So I want to have something on board up to like 275 at least if you're playing those quarters and you're playing those 50s. As people are starting to jam to try to get out of it in the 60 range, I might join in the low 60s and take some more out at like 270, something along those lines. But the market is still heading back into that downside. I think as long as we get close to that 14,000 level, this is what I'm looking for here. That's the only place I want to reload on a square. It shouldn't matter at all to IMPP, but as we start falling, it's worth noting, even like this, the junk stock, which has been Virgin Galactic, that's holding near that upside. It's still trying to break out, but you look at it, I think it's got some room to like 950, and we have to give it to that price range. But it's faded once or twice off of those highs. It's in the midst of doing it again. With this market pulling back, if we get below 35, I'm going to add one more time in here, play the retracement to VWAP and then to 9 even. But if it takes out 950, I think this one is gonzo, and we have to accept the fact that today Virgin Galactic wants to be strong. AMD starting to pull back in as well. I like that 119 support. 118.50 was the level I wrote down. I didn't wait for it. This time I'm going to wait for 118.50, which means I'm only going long around 119 to 119.5. So got to be a little bit more patient with that name. I just got another leg out on IMPP. I think I want to be flat before $3 because $3 I'm obviously looking to short.
Look at this, guys. Today is just nuts. A firm 41 now today. Like, yeah, might have found another stock that we like here. A firm, Rip City right now, respects these levels down here at 39, up $2 now. $2 in the money for AFRM and still going to the upside here. Lucid, a nice dollar in the... Ooh, okay, Lucid, I see you. We're in the 30s right here. Why am I waiting at 30 when we could just get out right now? Look at Lucid, guys. We dumped out a little bit. We dumped a little too much in there. It just wasn't going. Give me some 26s. It wasn't going through this 27 as much as we thought, but there goes, yes, sir. Wow. What a great day this has been, honestly, today, man. I mean, we've had a great February, a great everything. February's been super tough to trade, but considering, I feel like we've done really well here. Lucid, again, my number one stock's probably going to be, well, net-wise, might be a firm after this move to the upside. We'll wait to see where we get out on that one, but a firm, $2 in the money. Oh, yeah, and guess what? We just put Teladoc on, and guess where that is, guys? It's another chicken dinner winner, and I noticed that we're having chicken wedgies or something today, or what does it say? Chicken tenders and wedges today. So shout out to anybody that likes chicken tenders because you got those tendies right now going through. What's up, Brendo?
Another renewable energy name, guys. F-Cell having quite the day here, up almost 12% on decent volume as well. Just made another day high there. No real significant news outside of the entire group. Pretty strong here, but F-Cell up big time at this point.
Another one running the upside. Look, I just got all out of that IMPP. You're going to see it put a wick top at 270. So what? It got to that quarters and then just, I guess flush a little bit here, down about 10, 15 cents. I still think it had room to that 3 even, but if this is going to be a top, look, it's 225 was a consolidation, breakout. Then 250 was another break of the high, and then 270, 275. On the way to $3. It's respecting the quarters. That means it can turn into a bit of a fade at that 70 back into that 250 level. So might have to respect that trade and get into that one as a short trade. I thought it might go to 3, but if it's not going to get there, then that's going to be the next level up. Similarly, but not exactly the same thing, you have F-Cell getting into that, as Brendan just mentioned here, breaking out and getting into the $6 level. This is what it looks like on the daily. Yeah, $6 actually lines up as a bit of a resistance level. It's done 10 million shares. So with a name like this, you got to start thinking about that really big scalp trade, which is more 95 to evens. And if you get out in like the 80 to 85 range, or even like that 85 to 90, that does set up pretty well. I'm looking at the level 2, and there's not a ton of size at 6 even. So it's not as if you're sticking in front of, like a 50,000 or 500,000 share order on FSL. It is relatively thin up there, but if I see size jump in, I would definitely lever up, just because you can take advantage of that for liquidity. This is what I mean. Not a heck of a lot on the offer at 6 even, but it does hold up on the daily chart as a bit of a level on FSL.
Oh man, I'm honestly, guys, I'm just like in cruise mode right now. Just trying to see where, if there's any other trades coming through. The only trade that I'm really nervous about, Lucid's $1 in the money, Affirm's $2, is really just this TDOC trade. We have the very bottom of the day, so I don't know if we can't do better on this price, but I guess that's 74. Like we're long here at 73. What is it? 73.40 on TDOC? Yeah, no, 73.52. And it did go $1.20 in the money. But I was trying to play off of this 50-period moving average. I still think that that's something to look at there. We could take that out and then head a little bit higher. So I'm actually going to cancel this TDOC. I already have the out down here. If we break the low where I'm in, then we're going to get out. But until then, I feel like there's absolutely no point in dumping out of this trade. So we're going to wait on that one to go through as well. I just want to talk quickly also about here the top 10 traders. This is something that they do on the morning show. And just because I'm not in anything, we can review this right now. I know a lot of you aren't hanging around, but there it is. This is the top 10 traders on Friday for Day Trade the World. We had someone, 20 thou here, New York NASDAQ, someone trading European markets, it looks like, 10 grand, another 10 grand coming. These are all US dollars coming from some of these US markets, and then a 7 grand from Amex. Doesn't look like it was a very, very huge day for the company, but another 6 grand down there, 6 grand, so on and so forth. So just like to check back, it looks like the number one dog there, 18,000 on Friday based on NASDAQ in New York trading, and then a couple guys here trading some European markets. So if that's not reason enough to sign up for Day Trade the World, I mean, that's why it's called Day Trade the World. Every single market, pretty much, we trade worldwide. So gives you a great opportunity to do that. And we have offices worldwide as well. So hit up daytradetheworld.com and you'll be able to see more about that. And by the way, it was a month maker if I just held on to Lucid. But again, my conviction wasn't as strong as it should have been. And we're learning, man. We're learning. I know some of you said that your most profitable months were here in February. It wasn't for me, but I've learned a lot. Look at this, man. There's been so much here that I've been able to hold on to and average in and put on better positions at better prices. So that's really what we're looking at, man. Thanks to Mike, thanks to Copper Creek and everybody tagging me here. Yeah, you guys can ask. I mean, I'm positive. I mean, I've told you already, I'm positive on every name I've traded here so far today. So net, it's been a good day. And we're actually at the highest spot we've been at all day. So far, so good. And part of that is due to this monster move up here in Lucid. So again, guys, thanks for that. FSL as well. I know Neil was looking at that.
Yeah, I just got to that 6 even area. I'm in front of it. I got 95 as the price, so pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. If it breaks, if it's 5-cent risk to try to take 10 to 15, but I want to get to Raytheon. I'll come to Square in a second. My first target is in front of the high of the day. Then I want to look to hold through a 125 breakout. I think I mentioned that before. But Raytheon got to an all-time high and then rejected it severely, actually getting back below $100. So it is trying to trend back up. I would think, I think if it gets and holds above 100, that would have some legs to it. But that is a harsh rejection at, what was an unbelievable breakout through that all-time high at 105. So if it forms a 105 double top, is my way of saying it is fadeable. But that's a really, really strong name and obviously a strong sector that you don't want to get too far in front of. It's just if you're looking for those longs, understand that was looking like a bit of a wick top. I just mentioned to you guys Square that the next plan, after we got back in, I said, let's give it some more room and be a little bit more patient. That offer should be up at 124 quarters or so. So just going to adjust my order here just a little bit, then a little bit closer to that high. 124.80 is the double top. We just held 14,000 on the NASDAQ, and I said if we're going to get more patient with the longs, what you have to do is say, okay, well, if we test this level down to 14,000 and get back toward those highs, then you want to be holding out. If we hold that, then we have a chance to break back out. So you got to get some out in front of the high of the day, and then if the NASDAQ can take out the high and climb, you want to make sure you're holding on to some of those longs. And if we're above 14,000 and your stock is holding support, then there really isn't a heck of a lot of reason to get out. That's how you get shaken out a little bit here, guys. So just going to be holding on to Square for a little bit more than the dollar. I actually just pulled my bid back to take $1.25 on the next leg. And like I said, I got into F-Cell in front of $6. $6 is on the offer right now. If it breaks 6, I'm going to be out of that. This is it on the 15-minute chart. Just going over the single. It actually just held up a couple of times at 6 even. But usually with these trades, even if it works once or twice in a strong trend, it gravitates toward these levels eventually to break. So you got to be making sure you're scalping some of this off. So I'm going to get on the bid in the low 90s and the mid 80s to ensure that we're taking profit in the event that it does make that fall.
All right, guys. I mean, we just took another piece out on Lucid here at the high of the day, and it wasn't even the high of the day as this thing is moonshotting right now to the upside. Affirm at day's high as well. Affirm at 41.25, $2.50 of the money. T-Doc $1. We're throwing over to Brennan, and we are just smoking right now. Hopefully when we get back, this market's even higher, but it's on a nice little move to the upside. I have not traded any small caps today, but Neil and Brendan have, and here we go. It's small cap recap time. Hey, Mark and Rob. Throw it over to the big screen now with Brendo.
You made the right choice, Sean, because the unbelievable chop fest that is small cap world continues today. IMPP, one of those energy oil companies, tiny ones, along with INDO. I'll tell you about in a second here, but this is a daily chart on IMPP. Not a red candle in the last week. So that was the kind of the hint for me. I was only ever wanting to be long this. Tried it right at the open, ended up getting stopped out on the initial attempt. I left my orders in here because I really wanted the long down here where this choppy range was from Friday. It never gets there, only gets down to about 215 and then rips straight higher. So a nice long opportunity for IMPP, still 30%. Alpha I was talking about ends up being a great fade. I was really leaning long today for some reason. Just bad read in general. 220 and then 2 I mentioned pre-market. There's also this level down here, 190. Going to use that as support. See if we can't get a move back to that range from the pre-market, but going to need some volume on that one. INDO had this crazy spike up to day highs, immediately got rejected at 1450. That was a bit of a sign. So 1450 and then 1350 on the support. I'm actually long this now after getting stopped out. I'm going to give it to 1350, but all of these just back and forth inside their own range, guys. Back over to you.
So I guess you are a bit of good luck there, Brennan. So we'll hit that one for you. Because as Brennan goes into the small cap recap, I was just sort of complaining about the fact that they had been like really just chop fest, a lot of them, and ALF was a good short, and I wasn't even looking at ALF. We get the consolidation on Square. I pulled my offer back to right at that 124. I was sort of sitting about 25 cents below it as we're starting to scream back up. And I'm like, why am I not taking it out a little bit closer to that high? So we do get some out there for the $1.25. If it wants to make the break at the high of the day, this is what we want to hold through. If we get through 14.1, it's just, at this point, I still think Square is expensive. Don't get me wrong. Like if I had to pick between Square and PayPal, I mean PayPal is just cheaper on a valuation basis, so it makes a lot more sense. But it caught the upgrade today. You're trying to break out into new territory, and once it flipped into a long, at least this time we're holding on to it. There's room to 130. 125 goes, and this market can hold above 14,000, even break 14.1 again. Like I said, room to 130 means hang on to your longs and let it squeeze to the upside. It's a tremendous move, but sometimes when it's floating up, you just got to not fight against this stock. Now, if it does not break 125 by lunchtime or so, might have to take it out in front of that level and look for a 125 break in the afternoon. But when you have something like this, with the trend as strong as it is, I think eventually it does end up testing that high one more time. At least Virgin Galactic is starting. If I have to think something is going to work to the short side, this is starting to make a little bit more sense. Let's go back to the 1 minute. It just continues to get up to that 950. And every time the market bumps up, it can't take out the high. So I've been holding off getting any more shares until it breaks down. One more test. If it puts a wick top through the high, doesn't get to 950, this high is at 944. Doesn't get to 950, then I would short it in the 40s. Otherwise, I've been waiting for it to break down, show me the weakness, and then get more shares in. So being pretty conservative adding to any of these short positions, because I think it can be dangerous going counter trend. SL does break that 6 even. So yeah, I mean, just broke that 6 even. I just got out of it on that break, so 95 short, just got out at 02s. Got slipped by actual extra cent there. Usually you get the 01s.
AMC printing right now. Okay, we just got out of WFC, so once again, Good trade here for WFC as it's still going to the upside, but we got out. It broke down below. It's down 3%. We can wait for a better price, but WFC, right now, my top stock, just because I'm out of it, and it's a realized profit, so that's what we're doing right now. But I mean, right now, honestly, whoa. Like, unbelievable. We just tweeted this out, and for anybody that's on Twitter right now, oops, I didn't even tweet out the chart there, so we'll do that right now. Chart for LCID right now, but that's what we're doing right here. A nice day for us on Lucid, and all we really tweeted out right now was this. Still in half of this Affirm trade. Oops, it's not Lucid, it's Affirm. What am I talking about? We'll delete this right now, as I said Lucid. But we're still in this Affirm trade right here. Long 39.03, right? And all we really did was wait here. Take this, I'll put this on here. We waited for consolidation down at that level and took it, and then it was boom goes the dynamite. Now up to the upside. So wait for the consolidation. We have the 50 period there. Take 50 cents on half, and now look at this thing, guys. Up 7%. Affirm still climbing. My number one stock here today, AFRM, regardless of what happens. Unless this thing completely tanks down, we should be okay. As wow, Lucid, man, darn it. This one now near days or at and over days high now for Lucid. Oh man, what a good stock that was there. Wow, Lucid just continues to go to the upside. And look at Palantir now. 50 cents in the money on Palantir as well. Unbelievable. And TDOC, still, it's right at this level. We're going to let it ride, man. Look at these winners. $3 on Affirm, $1.80 on Lucid, 50 cents on Palantir, $1.50 on TDOC, and WFC out of it, but still a nice little winner. So yeah, we're just chilling out now, man. We've got our water, we've got our coffee, and we're looking for some more opportunities. So put them in the chat if there's anything you want me to look at.
A double top on AMD is Square just took the 125 high. Didn't get very far. Just got to 125, like 15 or 16 or so. We're holding on to this throughout that break. Neo is now testing that top. It got to 22 and a quarter, 22.15, not 22 and a quarter, as it's trying to break out that high. I think you want to see how it reacts up here. Like, this is both these names and AMD and just about everything I'm looking at looks like they're trying to take this double top without the NASDAQ coming anywhere close to its high. So there is some relative strength on a lot of these names. And this is what I'm talking about with AMD. You're retesting that high of the day. I was actually still waiting at 119. I can cancel that now. But you're waiting at that high of the day while the NASDAQ is still a good 60 or 70 points away from its high. So a bit of relative strength. It's a little bit difficult for these things to break out with the NASDAQ making a run. But what I love is if you get a break here, the NASDAQ wouldn't have to take out its new high for you to win on that breakout trade. So a scalp trade does work. I still think buying the dip makes more sense. Square is the one I wanted to hold on to, so that's the one I'm going to end up having here as we go to Brendan. What do you got, bud?
We were talking a little bit last week, guys, about more spending from the Biden administration on EV production, EV batteries, and infrastructure. Plug Power up huge today. Popped up in the pre-market here, just pushing day highs right now on decent volume, so 12.5% still for Plug. Good look for that stock today. Let's get a check of how things in Europe. Pretty choppy action over in Europe as well. Miss V is watching what's going on over there.
Hey, Brendan, European markets start this week in a negative territory. Oil stock BP trading in London is down more than 5% after the biggest foreign investor in Russia abandoned its stake in Russia's oil company Rosneft. Back to you.
Yeah, big moves for some of the energy companies today, guys. Small caps just going red to green. So Russell back in positive territory, the S&P, but 1% still. Same story for the NASDAQ.
Yeah, I was watching Bitcoin as well. We can do a quick little crypto check as we do our money talks at the 10:50. But we'll have a quick little look right now. Crypto 40,500 as we broke above. I said there's going to be a squeeze to 44 once 40 breaks, so watch out for that. Right now, Ethereum getting bumped as well. It's probably Russian buying all these names upside here. Solana nicely done as well to the upside. I haven't been buying any of these dips lately. Just a quick check into what's happening here now as Ethereum up. I guess if you look at the 24 hours, I guess that's the most important. But even just in the one last hour, 4% for Ethereum and 4% for Bitcoin. So yeah, they all are starting to move on some stuff there. And honestly, guys, like I don't really have XL, nice small one to keep an eye on. Okay, I'm already in. I was in XL fleet and got out on one of those bumps. We talked about that when it was happening. All right, Teledoc right now just took out 75. Like honestly, man, this is just the kind of day that we're on, man. We're smoking today because like everything is working and I just want to hold everything. Like look at Lucid, man, right off the sticky note. The sticky note reads exactly this: play off of a key level 27, maybe long support near 25. It goes right down to 26. We load it up. It's at 28. So that key level of 27 there that we defended was nice. Shouldn't have got out as much as we did on the way back up. But hey, man, that crystal ball comes in handy as now we are rock. $3, by the way, now. $3 in the money now for Affirm. $1.50 for TDOC. $1.80 for Lucid. And the market's not even green. So this is going to be a big day here. It already is a monster day. I think this might be already one of my best days. No losing names on. It continues to go up on these longs. So let's just keep on going to the upside right now. And yeah, it is what it is for now. NEO also, wow, NEO up 6% today. 22.25 now. And going to the upside. So yeah, still rocking and rolling on this one. And Palantir approaching 12, man, this is a good day.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could have taken the NEO break. I did settle on AMD. It's a very similar thing. On the 15, you still had that breakout looming at that 122. It broke that 50 for the high, and once this happens, room to like 120, and I don't think it has quite as much room to the upside as Square does. We looked at 230 on Square. That's at about 125.5. It got up to 126. And change, but at this point, like I'm thinking about the only ways I'm getting out of it is whether I set up a trail. If it takes out 127.5, I'm going to set up a trailing stop. Otherwise, it's that 130 level on the daily. The 50 period as well looms over there on block. I keep saying Square. It doesn't really matter either one. That 50 period is right at that 130, pretty much on a dime. So that's the target for this. And you have to start thinking about it. Like we just broke 950 on Virgin Galactic, so I had some short setups. None of those, well, none of them are going to work because IMPP worked initially. And then you start flipping into that long trade. If the market takes out this high of the day, there really isn't much standing in the way of some of these names. So the reloads were when we retested back into 14.5 on the NASDAQ. If you got them, that's when I picked up Square. It's a breakout for AMD, and then NEO would have been more or less the same thing, but it's a bit of a weaker break. And I didn't like the levels quite as much. I liked it at the dip for 2150, so that's what I'm going to come back to. If that stock wants to continue its trend, I'd much rather be picking it up on the dip around that 21. Oh, VWAP's now at 2160, so I'm going to have to tick that one up just a tiny bit here. It's have to get more aggressive as the trend is clearly going to that upside. The one Brennan mentioned earlier that we did not take, ALF, that's starting to make a bit of a bottom. So if it holds $2, just a quick look here. This has been all kinds of resistance. Like if you look at the higher time frame chart, if it holds above that 2, this one's pretty likely to put in some kind of a you-know-what cat bounce. And I'm only using the cat bounce because it's ALF and he ate cats. If you're talking about the TV show. But that $2 looks like a pretty good level. I want to see it hold at least throughout lunchtime and then start thinking about a bit of a bounce. And somehow we managed to get all the way to 25 minutes to the end of the show without mentioning the big thing that is happening here today. You guys have been seeing it. We have this next to us here, another set of desks. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Tim. But the idea is we are eventually moving over there. So this can be set up and move back a little bit. And then Trader Prad will be joining us. Trader Prad and Ms. V sitting side by side. So the first test is today. I'll be hopefully successfully moving over there. But that's what it's all about. I think it's ready to go. It looks absolutely fantastic. The crew's been putting a lot of time and effort into that change. Right now, hold on to your longs because the NASDAQ is testing the highs. If you haven't taken any profit scalping things out, whoops, that's the ES. If you haven't taken any profit scalping things out in front, it would make some sense. But if we take out this top, you got 14.2, which was Friday's double top. I think that would be a good leg as well. Once 127.50 is taken on Square, I'm going to put a trailing stop in. Otherwise, I want to let these longs work.
Yeah, I don't even want to change spots. I mean, the way that today's been going in the last couple of days, man, I got to stay in the heater seat right now. But we are going to be moving over, so you'll see us over there afterwards. Look at NEO continuing to move upside. Wow, just what a great move this has been long down there at 21 bucks. This is not a name that we did not have this on the sticky note, but as you can see, man, it's a nice little move all the way to the upside for NIO. T-Doc, someone said slowly but surely. Oh, hell yeah, right now. Man, do those pins line up for T-Doc long down here at 73 bucks. Again, some consolidation. We're actually lucky. I wasn't sure if we were going to get that. It was trying to consolidate a little bit here at, well, I guess that's the same price, 73.50. So, yep, we got it. Now this is $2 in the money for this one, $3 in the money for Lucid. So, I don't know. Let's check out on ARC right here. I don't really have too many more ideas, man. We're just going to sit here and trade, and I can look at some names. If there's anything you guys want to look at, Palantir is up to 12 bucks. Like, what else can we say about Palantir right now other than, yeah, we like it. It's 11.40 was our long. It's up to 12 bucks. So Palantir definitely working out for us here. You guys want to look at SoFi? Fine, let's go. SoFi 11.50. Wowzers, a good day for SoFi here. Still making moves up. So wow, okay. NASDAQ starting to go. SoFi, oh, come on, chart. SoFi starting to go, taking out 11.50 as my eyes look upside here at some other charts. 11.50, yeah, it's a nice level, but I don't know. I feel like we may have missed this, man. 8% for SoFi today. This was really the key there, breaking that 1080 level, which we did early on, right into here. So that would have been a fantastic long. Now, I mean, the NASDAQ is trying to go green. We talked about that, trying to go green. We're already in some amazing monster longs right here. So SoFi looking good at 211.50. But again, if you look at this 20 period, the high, when it made a move the last time from 11 upside, it stopped at 11.70. So maybe that's something to look at. But I mean, a lot of us that are long SoFi need a lot more than that to get back up. So we'll see if it can hold out. But on the daily chart, SoFi is still, man, pretty beat down like a lot of these names. This reminds me of DraftKings. Maybe you have to look at that. The 50 period here on SoFi is 13.13 right now. But yeah, man, so far so good. You guys, Taco Eater, what's up? Now we talk about SoFi. Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. Look, what do you want me to do? I mean, so far today, I have Affirm win, Lucid win, Palantir win, T-Doc win, WFC win. We're 5 for 5 here today, so I can't look at everything, but maybe Brendan can. What's up, Brendan?
I was just actually checking on DraftKings, guys. Their Investor Day is this week, so yeah, positive for DKNG. Solar stocks. We saw a lot of strength come back into solar stocks at the end of the week last week. That TAN ETF up 8% again today, just made another day high. So individual solar names pretty strong here.
One name that we talked about with a positive, I guess, feel-good story, Airbnb. I saw in the chat a lot of people asking about it. It's been weak. Ultimately, that story really doesn't mean anything to the stock price, right? Like, it's fantastic if they're going to give spots open up to refugees, but it's been relatively weak. It's actually trying to break out here. And I'll get to AMD, which I just took some profit on in a quick second, but I wanted to sort of show the relative weakness that you had been seeing in Airbnb, trying to break back above this 152. I thought 150 could establish itself, but that never really happened every time I checked it. Now it looks like you have some support down there. A couple of higher lows got put in on Airbnb, but you can't. Look, the tech names that have been running here have been super strong, and anything that's lagging, I don't love the long. Like, you have things that are breaking. Now we just took that we just tested 14.2 on the NASDAQ. Apologies, we didn't actually break that level. And anything that can't get to those highs is relatively weak. I did take the first scalp trade to 123 on that 22.50 break on AMD. I want to hold that to see if it can get to 125 and if the futures can take that top. Square, on the other hand, never got to that 127.50. It just got up to 127 even. But this looks super strong, right? If we take out 14.2, I think we're going to get to that 27.5. And on the daily chart, there's just nothing standing between this thing and 130 at this point. So might as well just let it run. The reload was at VWAP. It has all kinds of support up there as well. So I want to be in Square hopefully all day long. If 14,000 were to break, I guess it's game over. But as I say this, we're right back up that 14.2. We're going to head to Brendan for sector watch as I look at a screaming chart in the NASDAQ. But it's a bit of a deceiving board once again when you look at some of these sectors because there's a lot of red up there.
Yeah, still pretty red for the S&P. Let's have a look at where we're at right now. We are down 0.5%. The good news is we were down a lot more and have been just kind of grinding back to the upside ever since the open. Let's start in the industrial group here because I want to talk about these. The airlines, all of them still under pressure, significant pressure. 5% there for UAL, about 3.8 for AAL, Delta as well, 4.8 to the downside. But all the defense names up here, NOC, there's RTX, there's LMT, 5 to 6% higher, offsetting some of that weakness coming from the airlines there. So overall, the industrial group about flat to actually slightly higher on the day. Tech stocks to the downside so far. Some of the semiconductors showing a little bit of strength. SEDG and Enphase there, 9 and 10% to the upside. Everything else, though, in the group down between 1.5% and 2.5%, helping to offset that strength coming. EPAM down on some news this morning, 35%. Hardware names down right across the board. So tech stocks are leading as far as weakness is concerned. But as we said, kind of grinding back higher at the moment. Healthcare stocks down here also under pressure. A lot of big movers, individual names. Gilead there down 3%. VTRS 23% as well. On this side, wanted to mention real quick, material stocks. There were individual names in this group showing a lot of strength this morning, back to the downside for the most part. For material stocks. And then where's the other one? Here it is. Energy stocks, Oxy, Devon, Apache, EOG, Hess, MRO. I mean, pick one. They're all higher on the day. Oxy leading the way right now. 8%, guys. Back over to you.
Thank you very much there, Brendan. And just worth noting here, I mean, we don't necessarily trade this, but that RSX, which is the Russian ETF, VanEck ETF, halted. Volatility halted to the upside. Look, it's tradable, certainly, but just be cautious. Obviously, be cautious if you decide to be trading it. But halted to the upside. There are some different halt rules if you're looking at some of the ETFs there. But either way, strong move is the market screaming. We just took the high of the day. By we, I mean the NASDAQ. I didn't actually check the ES. So we've finally broken that 127.50 on Square. And at this point, it looks like that 130 is definitely in target. I'm going to have my offers up there. You get another parabolic move, and we want to make sure we're getting out in front of that 130. That's where the line in the sand is going to be. AMD is going to be closer to 125 for a bit of a target on that particular one. And as far as looking for things to fade, one name, if I'm going to take something to the south side at this point, because in the open, what's been working for me in February and up to now is at the open, take your hits where they come. Once you establish the trend, get into something that's working for you in that trend and then manage to hold on to it for a little bit longer and be patient if you want to go counter trend. Foot Locker, on the other hand, look, they got a major downgrade. You know what happened with earnings. It was pretty ugly, but it just cracked that $30 maybe like a minute or two ago, and you had a nice little break. I mean, it got to exactly the quarter range, which is usually that target we look for, and is looking to fade back in here. So being patient, maybe not jumping into it when it tested it the first or second time, but now you've had a bit of a break that's failed to get through that quarters, and it's about to retest that 30 even. It gets back below, and Foot Locker is one that I'd be willing to fade through 30, risking about 25 cents of that 30-25 top. Otherwise, we're just holding on to our two longs at this particular point. I wanted to check back in on Tesla. I mean, check back in on Tesla. We haven't really looked at Tesla all morning, but it's still screaming after breaking and holding above that $800 level. If you remember last week, or at least maybe it was 2 weeks ago, that 850 level had been resistance. It essentially chewed right through that, and the next one up would be your 885 to 900. That's what was the resistance the first time upside. So Tesla has room before you even think about that slowing down. And that's what's going on with the market as well, because now that 14.2 is broken, I have to ask the room what he's thinking about for upward levels here. I'm thinking you just hold on to anything because I don't see any obvious signs of a turn here. Tesla 885, though, would be a pretty big level if we got there. And Foot Locker is a bit of a different story. I would look to short that one if I get back through that 30 even.
Okay, crypto is fading off a little bit right now, but yeah, we're just going to go, I don't know, we'll just do this one, the hot dog firing off, because right now we have multiple stocks, $3 in the money. Affirm, $3 in the money right now. TDOC, $3 in the money right now. Lucid, $2 in the money right now and still going to the upside. I don't even know where to stop some of these names. Lucid, 28.40. I think that's pretty good, considering we have earnings coming up and the NASDAQ has just ripped there. We talked about also, remember what I said about Tesla off the open? And that is, I mean, we don't have it, so it doesn't really matter what I said, but any dip down into 800, you know, you hold that to 795 and you have about a $5 worth of risk. That's $60 there upside here for Tesla as that name just keeps on going. So you know what, I'm thinking about this now, Lucid. I know we have to give it all the way back here. I'd hate for this to take out 28 on the outside here, back in. So I think that we'll take this out here at $28 for Lucid. Affirm, TDOC, Lucid, all good trades. What about SoFi? We just talked about that SoFi 1150 area being a little bit of a concern. We did take it out. A lot of consolidation here. If the market comes back down, I think this is the best name to short here, SoFi, because it did have some consolidation up on the upside with some top wicks with red volume candles. So I think this is a decent short now. But with that being said, man, I mean, you know, what is this? Let's get out of TDOC, honestly. $3 in the money. I didn't think we'd have it like this. Very, very patient for me to wait for this. Normally, we're just out all the way up, but we're holding on to half of this trade, and right there is going to be our out, taking down through 76.20. Let's just give it 76. If it breaks 76, we'll get out. Give it a little. Let's give it 76.10. So if TDOC breaks 76.10, we're out. Wow, Palantir taking 12 right now. This stock has been absolutely nuts on this. So a nice little long there. And look, some days we hold the longs and they don't print. Today they are printing. As I see Randy out of the corner of my eye, let's check out Ford here real quick. Yeah, that I was going to say right on cue there. Ford down at 17.25. Still red on the day, but again, battling around. We like Ford. It's already touched 15 last week, so that was like a surprise to the downside. But I really like Ford taking out this 19 level. So we'll wait to get some money in there. But for a day trade right now, it's red. We've got some huge names on board. So let's throw it back over to Brendan with 10:48. Day's almost over. Let's go, Brendan.
Another big mover, guys. Zscaler, cloud security name, just popping up on volume there at day highs. So 8%. Another one in that group to add to your list if you need another one. Back above 240 for Zscaler.
So the case is now closed. I haven't used that one in a while. It should be like a more modern case. 127.50, where we said we put the trail on Square when it broke into that range, block, whatever. We did just take it out there, so the VWAP retracement. We had to eventually admit that it was going to be a long trade here, and then we took the first scalp in front of 125, and then once it got into that 127.50 range, that's where I wanted to have the trail. So you'll see me out of that. I'm going to try to hold on to AMD a little bit longer on that break. And someone asked, like, why do we say dollars in the money instead of percentage? I don't know, habit, right? Like a lot of times I'll use percentage if I'm talking about like a small cap, like a penny stock or dollar stock. I think it's just more a habit than anything else. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we can all do the math, understanding risk to reward. It's more interesting. Where's your entry? What's your exit? And what's the risk to reward on the trade? And then you figure it out from there. Mullen Automotive. I almost called the stock Mulan because it's M-U-L-N. Mullen Automotive just made a parabolic move up. I said I wanted Foot Locker breaking back through 30 if I was looking to short something else. This just took out this pre-market high at $1.20. You're in sort of uncharted territories. I know they made our watch list, so I'm pretty sure they made our watch list. There's no obvious levels in the daily chart. So 122, the current high of the day, 125, those are more psychological than anything else. But it is starting to get parabolic. I'd look for quarters and 50s for any kind of a reversal on it and just be very patient with it at this point. Like I said, AMD, I'm going to try to hold on to after just taking the Square long out. It's still making that break. There's your double top break. I did scalp some out at 123 when an offer sat there. I don't think you can reload this until it gets to 121 is a bit of the trouble here. But if you zoom out on your 15, there's some room to go. Like, you're breaking out of this range here. I think you have room to get to 127, 128 up here on AMD. And the difference between this and Square made the break and then ran to that next level and gave you a turn in that bigger profit window, whereas I don't think that's necessarily happened yet on AMD. So I want to see if we can be in this one a little bit longer. Because I've taken some profit off, I am willing to jump back into this if it gets down towards that 121, 121 quarter. So we're going to give this some room on a pullback. The market overall still looking pretty strong. I said if I shorted something before we got to the end of the show, it would be Foot Locker. I just got into that one at $29.99. That's a weird price to have something like a Foot Locker, but it was a 30 break, so I got slipped 1 cent. My out's going to be the high of the day at 30.25, and we're going to get some out in front of 75s and then all the way down here to VWAP, which sits at 29.30.
Okay, so just quickly here, we did, unfortunately, for a nice little $3 winner. Oh, well. Teladoc. We got out of Teladoc as it took down VWAP right there. So that's a $3 winner. Actually, 250, 70.06. So about 280 or so there. No, now Teladoc's taking out the highs right there. Okay, good thing we still got Lucid, Affirm, Palantir. Wow, Palantir, yeah. Good job there, Miss Kathy Wood, selling that at $10. I don't know. We'll see. Give up your fund there, 20%. Nice little upside move here for Palantir, up to 12 and change. I'm having, again, like one of my better days just for as far as clean trading is concerned. Just a couple ins, a couple outs, not too many fills today, and a lot of profits here coming through. But Palantir, maybe $12 on the downside. Let's check it out over there at the big board with Money Talks and Brendo.
Hey guys, wild action so far on some of the currency markets. Continued wild action again. If you're watching the US dollar, back to the positive side. It was actually down at one point this morning, but 0.14 now, back in positive territory, 96.75. So the euro down 0.5% on that. Canadian dollar was also in negative territory, has since gone green, back to 0.2. But I wanted to talk about some cryptocurrency action. Bitcoin, yeah, retook 40,000. I threw Ethereum up over there because both of them look very similar. If you go to an hourly chart, 2,600 holds as support down here over the past couple of days. We're right back to resistance, straight to the upside since this morning for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, Ripple benefiting as well. So lots of volatility wherever you look today, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, lots of volatility for sure. Like I said, I might have got shaken out of Square there, but you know, looking at the two charts, whoops, I just went to TD. Looking at the two charts between Square and AMD, it made more sense. It was more mature in the breakout on Square to be able to take it out off of that high, whereas AMD it hadn't really followed through yet. So it's entirely possible both of these go. And I would have gotten a one the wrong range, but AMD just resisted 122.60 on a pullback and is now retesting those highs. The only short, like I said, I'm going to have on is that Foot Locker, but Mullen Automotive is the other one that we're looking at, as it just tested that 122 again. Now 122, it just happens to be the high. 1 quarter is just a psychological number, but it went parabolic and put a capitulation candle in. So I usually like these consolidations. If you can get 20s, your risk is essentially a few pennies, and then VWAP is like 15 lower. So if you're looking at percentages, you have like a 10% move back into VWAP, and you're risking about a quarter of that if you short it here. So it's the risk to reward that's appealing to me on MULN. Of course, I think we have to pay for shorts on this one, but that was relatively cheap.
All right. Yeah, Teladoc is now $1 higher than where we got out, but we'll say, oh, well, mamma mia, you can't get them all here. And then, obviously, I talked about Palantir today early, and if you can, join it at Trader TV Sean. You can check out the hottest tweet on Twitter right now, the sticky note. And look what we're talked about right here. Palantir should benefit from the conflict, right? Data surveillance, AI, all comes to the forefront right now. We're starting this bid at 11.50, and we're going to watch out for 11 support, right? We gave it to you. Made sense to me. I hope it made sense to you. We talked about that even in our chat up here due to the conflict. Watch out for Palantir, and we wanted to get that long. So it's not just a pretty face here. We're actually trying to put together some winning trades for you, and I think we did a pretty good job today. As we talked about, watch 11.50. That's the bottom today. That's exactly where Palantir came. We put on a beast long position down here, and unfortunately, we don't have very much of it left, but there it goes right up to the upside right now goes Palantir, and everything, man. $3 for Affirm, $3 for Lucid, $5 for TDOC if we still held that. WFC would be an absolute monster as well. Forgot to even talk about that one, but yeah, so far so good, man. We're just rocking. Clover, though, up 10 on Clover today, as that name just keeps on going to the upside. Wow, Clover exploding upside right there. Anybody that bought some of these dips down low were definitely excited about this move. Oil, 95 and change. We talked about maybe an XOM long, but we haven't really been looking at that for too long here. But look at that, nicely done all the way from 77 off open to a nice little upside move here for XOM. So, hey, man, as it goes, knows? We're going to end the show at the highest spot for me all day. Then we'll move over to the computers. Hopefully nothing happens there. Hey, what's up, Maggie? I see Maggie there. What's up? Back from vacay right now. And back, never taking a vacation, Mr. Wickens over there on the big desk.
All right, let's get you updated, guys, on what's to come later on tonight after the market closes and before the open tomorrow still. Decent names on here for earnings today.
So we got some, look, we're not done earnings season. Well, most of the big, whoops, that was weird. I just lost the earnings board. Lots of the big names have already reported there. I know Target's a big one in the retail space that we still have to get to. We don't usually look at Smile Direct, but some of these squeeze type, you've seen what's happening with some of these squeeze type names, right? So you have to watch out for that. Novavax is good for some moves always because, look, those vaccine names have been a little bit interesting pulling back in here. I'm not too concerned with anything else on there. I mean, obviously, we'll probably look at Kohl's because they've shown some volatility. And I can't believe we didn't talk about this EPAM, some news with that. And yeah, withdrew their Q1 guidance in the midst of this Ukraine, I guess, conflict. And yeah, down about $130 here. I mean, 39%. So that's one to watch through at lunchtime, this EPAM.
Yeah, we're back at 2 o'clock here. I have Lucid, and that's what I'm trading today. We'll continue to look at that again, up that $2. And yeah, I know, I just keep on promoting these trades because it's the only ones that I'm in. And honestly, you don't need to trade like a maniac here in order to make money. We'll trade it as easy as we can, give you the levels, make that cash, and then promote them to you. And it's just like how we talk about our winners, we talk about our losers. It's just I would talk about my losers. It's just today, honestly, we cannot find any. What's up, Valeria?
Guys, thanks for starting the new trading week with us. I hope you're having a great day, and please join Brad and me right after to continue trading. Please make sure you like this video, guys. Help us to get 2,000 likes. And happy National Chocolate Souffle Day, everyone.
That looks pretty tasty.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm not like, I like chocolate. I'm not like a huge fan of chocolate. Like if there was something a little mixed in with that, some nut or something. But I like chocolate. Nothing wrong with chocolate souffle. Nice and light and a tasty treat for sure. Chocolate souffle. Grab yours today.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can never go wrong with chocolate. So anyways, I was telling you my daughter was not feeling well on her birthday. Right. We went to Baskin. You guys know Baskin Robbins. They have like a million different flavors.
Yeah, I don't know if they know it in the States, but
okay, so Baskin Robbins is like 30 different flavors. You can go in and they got them all in front of you.
Like vanilla?
So this is obviously what a kid does. Every single flavor she has to look at and be told what it is.
Okay.
And what do you think she picks? Plain chocolate.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, look, chocolate
My
is
kids
like
would have been on bubble gum or something crazy like that.
You know I had the rum and raisin. But it's just one of those things. That's what kids do. And Tyrone, you're right. I'm going to see the Nets tomorrow. I'm taking Trader Prad. We're going to get some oysters before because he's never had them. So that should be a heck of a lot of fun. Look, obviously
Brendan and I joining you for oysters.
Yes, that's right. We're all going to grab some oysters. But his boy, James Harden, is not going to actually be playing for the Nets anymore.
Wow, James Harden, man. You like that?
Suddenly healthy, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I tweeted that at Trader Brad, man. James Harden and the Sixers unstoppable in the East, as you know. I've already said that. Okay, look, guys, with only 30 seconds to go, man, it's going to be a fun show with Trader Prad and Miss V. So get ready to get locked and loaded on this one. I'm getting ready to empty some of the clips out here. We've already got out of T-Doc, obviously at 76 and change. That's at 77. Firm's at $3.50 now in the money. We'll probably hold that. The only thing that I'm looking to dump is Palantir because we've known that Palantir does have the ability to just tank as well out of nowhere. Just like it can go up, we can also fade back in. So I'm going to respect this 50 period on Palantir. So just so you guys know that, as this keeps climbing, that's as my net keeps changing, but my outs change as well. So 1190 new out on Palantir, but you can ask on Prad's show if you want to, and I'll let him know my positions as well.
Yes, sir. And with that note, I mean, that Mullen did pull back. I'm canceling my offers. I was trying to get 20s. You see it already start to pull back here. We're going to send you over to Trader Pratt and Ms. V. It is time for Market Movers. When we're back, you'll see us in a different spot.
Welcome back to the final day of the month, the most exciting day of the month. It's going to be a lot of volatility going into the close today. It is time for Market Movers with your beautiful Miss B and Trader Brad.
Thank you, Brad. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday.
Start of the new week, but happy last day of February. Spring is coming. I'm super excited, guys. As usual, please be active on the chat. Ask us anything, and we would really appreciate if you smash the like button. How's your trading day going, Brad?
Pretty good so far, Miss V. You know, keeping it pretty easy, keeping it light, obviously.